Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
You served and forged the relationships that only being baptized in the fire of combat can develop. At FallInVeteran.com, we understand the unique bond that veterans share. That's why we've created a platform where you can connect, share experiences, and build lifelong friendships with fellow veterans. Signing up is easy. Simply visit www.fall-in-veteran.com and create your profile. Customize it to reflect your military service, interests, and hobbies. FallInVeteran.com is more than just an online community. It's a support network where you can find resources, advice, and encouragement from those who understand what you've been through. Whether you're looking for camaraderie, mentorship, or simply a place to share your stories, FallInVeteran.com has it all. Join thousands of veterans who have already found their tribe and start connecting today. FallInVeteran.com. Come join us and experience the power of community. Sign up now at www.fall-in-veteran.com.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Hi, my name is Brian Passalacqua, driver for Paradigm Motorsports and the number 6 OB Builders in Ram Welding and Fabrication, Chevy Camaro. I want to say thank you to our men and women in the armed forces, those that have served or currently serving, that protect us from all threats, those foreign and domestic. I've been part of ISCA now for about 2 years. I was the 2023 regular season champion and Final Four driver. I choose to participate in ISCA because of the long green flag runs, respectful racing, and high level of competition. If those are things that interest you, come check us out and join in on the fun.
Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the iRacing Stock Car Association, or the ISCA Super Cup Series. And I am super excited about tonight. Of course, my name is Brian Britt. I have Big Al as my co-commentator here this evening, as well as we have a special guest. Aiden Schultz is going to be joining us in the booth for color commentary and, of course, some expert kind of information and analytics, if you will. Of course, we have Kobe Jordan down behind the camera, is going to be bringing all the action here at the last great Coliseum, Bristol Motor Speedway. This is one of my favorite racetracks to drive on and watch races. Of course, some drivers or some people in this booth right now do not feel that same way. But how are you doing, Big Al? How's it going tonight?
Hey, doing pretty good, Brian. Excited to be here tonight. This is a good one, man. And every time we come into Bristol, people are on their feet because this is the last Coliseum, and always this is the last greatest short track race of the season, in my opinion. So there's that also.
This is going to be an exciting one, of course. We were talking earlier before the broadcast began, and Aiden, you're not a big fan of this track. Tell us why.
Yeah, the old bull ring, Brian. Thanks for having me, everyone at ISCA as well. The old bull ring. Not a fan, especially through the officials. League racing a little bit different as we see here tonight, but it definitely is a different track. It's not like your 1.5s or your super speedways. Definitely not. A little bit of a bull ring as we see Randy Mullins quickest in practice at the moment. But the thing I'm excited the most about, we're in the championship playoffs at the moment. We're going to go 16 down to 12 at the end of tonight, and we're going to have 4 people go home before we go into the next round. But we've got the rest of Bristol to play out yet, qualifying to come up here for the Paradigm 313 at Bristol for the ISCA. So looking forward to it, Brian, and thanks for having me on board.
For sure. I'm definitely glad to have you on board, and you're 100% right. This is going to be a hugely important race for these 16 drivers that want to move on to the next round. Of course, we've seen Brandon Passalacqua lock himself into the next round. Matt DeCiani, he won at Watkins Glen last week, so he's locked in. But there's some other drivers that are going to want to see if they can maybe punch their ticket tonight at Bristol. And this is, you mentioned super speedways. This, in a lot of ways, in my opinion, is a super speedway version of a short track. I mean, you're going to see these guys, driving really, really aggressively. There is multiple grooves at this place as well. And it's all going to be, the name of the game is going to be survival here. It's going to be survival. If you can manage to hang on and run 313 laps and finish on the lead lap, there's a good chance you're going to gain a lot of points here tonight. But let's look at the details of tonight's race. Of course, this is the Paradigm 313 here at Bristol Motor Speedway. This half mile, as we said, bull ring, very high banked racetrack. 313 laps on the docket here. So that doesn't sound like a lot, and it probably isn't for us up here in the booth. But for these drivers down on the racetrack, it is going to be a rough racetrack, a rough race, considering this is a very physical place and the corners come up so fast. Stages, of course, are stage 1, 65, going to 66. That's when the caution flag will fly. Of course, stage 2 will complete 140, going to 141. Tires, this is going to be, I think, the ultimate resource. Tires. This is going to be the end-all, be-all. If you can save these tires and you have a set at the end of this race to put on maybe in a late race caution, this could be what wins you the race. 7 sets altogether, 6 actually down in the pits. Fuel, we're probably not ever going to talk about fuel here tonight because it really doesn't matter. This is not going to be something we're going to see. We're not probably going to see green flag stops. I got to say, I don't think that's going to happen. If it does, I will be shocked, but it's 175 laps on the fuel. So what are you guys thinking, though? You think tires are going to be important here tonight?
Yeah, Big Al, I'll segue into you, mate, real quickly. I think it will be, and as Brian, you just mentioned, it will be a 2-lane groove. We've got to really watch those cars getting tight on a long run, hitting the wall out of turns 2 and 4. But Big Al, into the standings at the moment that you can see on your screen.
Yeah, Brian's going to go ahead and run through those.
And, of course, Brandon Passalacqua is at the top of the board. He's already locked himself in. Patrick Gitter, I'd say it's safe to say he's locked himself in on points here tonight. He's in second place. Matt DeCiani won last week at Watkins Glen. He's locked in. Brian Johnson, I'd say pretty much safe to say he's probably locked in on points into the next round. Abner Acosta, safe to say he's locked in. Randy Mullins as well. Clayton Hoffman, I'd say pretty close. Greg Wyszynski, I'd say he's close as well. Josh Schaffner, Tim Wortman Jr. I think these guys are all very close to that line. Or I say Wortman and Josh very close to that line. They could have a bad race here tonight and maybe fall below that cut line. Derek Heitman, if he doesn't have a good race today, he's probably going to fall below the cut line. John Bender, he is just 1 point above that cutoff line. Mark Sanchez, he's 1 point below it. Kenny Powell, if he doesn't have a good day today, he needs to have a stellar day. He needs to pretty much win this race in order to get above that cut line. Randy Drumhiller as well. He is in a danger zone. And Alexander Carr, who, of course, is last right now in the 16 drivers. These are the guys that we're looking at. These guys that are outside of the 12, we're looking for a Hail Mary pass to essentially get into the playoffs, Big Al, into the next round. And, of course, looks like qualifying is starting to wrap up here. We have just a couple minutes left. Is everything okay, Big Al?
Yeah, ATVO. But yeah, these guys, the guys that you're talking about, and they know who they are. They're going to be feeling a lot of pressure tonight here, Brian, especially guys the likes of Kenny Powell, because they understand 4 drivers are going to be axed from this thing this evening, and everybody wants to get a ticket to the show.
That's exactly right. And this is that racetrack that I don't know if I want to have to put my entire ISCA season on the line at. I mean, this is not that place that I want to have to, like, okay, yeah, I don't want to win round if I do well here.
Yeah, this isn't there's no Bristol ringer. You know what I mean? Like you said, it's going to be about the guy that still got the 4 fenders and is sitting the right side up at the end of this thing.
100%. Of course, looks like qualifying is got a minute away. Let's go ahead and take a step away. We'll play our national anthem. We'll play some, of course, some commercials, give some attention to our sponsors. But we'll be right back with this exciting race here at Bristol Motor Speedway.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets regular, the bombs bursting in air gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the
The night time is the right time. Remember what I told all my drivers? Reach up there and pull those belts tight one more time. Drivers, start your engines!
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the ISCA Super Cup Series as we are getting ready to do the cutoff race for the round of 12 here at Bristol Motor Speedway. The Paradigm 313 getting set to start here momentarily, and it looks like we do have all 32 cars going to be set to get this race started here momentarily. Abner Acosta, who last week was arguably probably one of the best cars at Watkins Glen, unfortunately was not able to finish that race. He's going to be starting on the pole position here tonight at Bristol. Dylan Banks looking very fast in practice. He's going to be starting in second place. Now, another car that was arguably probably one of the best last week at Watkins Glen was Paul Hill. He's going to be starting third. Randy Mullins, who was fastest in practice, starts fourth. Matt DeCiani, last week's winner at Watkins Glen, starts in fifth place. Patrick Gitter, sixth place. Jose Acosta starts in seventh. Greg Carr qualifies eighth. Brandon Pasalacqua, ninth place, and Clayton Hoffman rounds out the top 10.
Ooh, and that's going to put Josh Schaffner coming in at number 9 with Jeffrey Souza on his outside. Next row is going to show us Kenny Powell and Tim Wortman Jr. Starting 15th is Mark Sanchez with Dave Feud Jr. on his outside in 16th. 17th place is going to show Brian Johnson with J.C. Evans from G&G starting in 18th. 19th is going to be Paul Whitley II with Alexander Carr II rounding out the top 20.
First is going to be Benjamin Stevens. Go ahead.
21st position tonight, Benjamin Stevens and Kendall Lebron in the 22nd position. 23rd tonight will be Nick King in the car 3 with James Hone in the 19. Out of the next row will be Jordan Sailors and Greg Wachinski in the 5, starting out of the 26th position tonight. Blair Holman in the 10 and Randy Drumhiller in the 44 out of 28. 29th position tonight will be John Binder, and Jason Maines out of the 45 will take up your 30th position tonight.
31st is going to be Derek Jacobs, and 32nd is going to be Paul Olson, and that rounds out this 32-car field here tonight. I'll tell you what, guys, this is a half-mile racetrack, and 32 drivers on this track is going to be kind of chaotic. I'll tell you one thing we're going to see tonight, guys, is lap traffic. I know I've done about 3A Opens this week, and those races are about 175 laps. This race is a lot longer than that, and I know that one thing I encountered a lot in the A Opens was lap traffic. I'll tell you, it's going to be an obstacle course out here.
Yeah, it's going to be really smooth sailing for Abner, especially as this thing starts. He is going to be in the best seats in the house. And the longer this thing goes green, though, that's when it's going to start to pinch on him. Because as you start to run into lap traffic here at Bristol, it's not going to slow those guys down behind you. And that's where drivers are going to really have to be cognizant of just where they're sitting at on the racetrack.
Yeah, 100%. Some cars are not going to be handling as well that you're going to catch as well. I mean, you're not catching them for no reason. I mean, you being the leader, you're catching guys that are not handling very well. They're going to be loose. They're going to be tight. You know, whatever handling condition, they're going to have that, and you're going to have to try to find your way around them. And they might be running in the line that you like to run in. So you're going to have to be able to get out of your comfort zone and move around. Yeah,
absolutely, because I guarantee you the guys that are going to be on that catbird on the edge of getting lapped, they're not going to be able to control where their cars go. So drivers are definitely going to have to find the passing lane, if you will.
Yeah, and gentlemen, I was sitting down in the pit lane, and when the cars were getting ready to go out on the racetrack as we see at the moment, I'll tell you what, we're in the 16, 12 when we come at the back of this one. I'll tell you what, the nerves were heightened. I was sitting there in pit lane listening to all the engines rev. They're all excited. We're at the bull ring ready to go.
Yeah, I'm definitely excited as well. I think this is going to be a fun race here. I think a lot of these guys are probably not going to think so. They're going to go home being a little bit upset, and, you know, who's to say that we don't see someone's playoffs hopes kind of end early here tonight? But one good thing about it is you do have some time to kind of, get laps back if something goes wrong. If we have multiple cautions, this is one of those tracks where it's easy to get laps back if we do have cautions. We'll have to wait and see if that's going to be the case here, but we're getting ready to see that pace truck get out of the way here at Bristol Motor Speedway. Abner Acosta going to be the control car here for the initial start as we get ready for 313 laps, and here comes the pace car dipping down pit road as Abner enters the Geico restart zone. Green flag is out for the first time. And a really good start from Dylan Banks. He gets to the gas a little bit, it seems like earlier, possibly than Abner. Abner dueling for the lead already. And you see Dylan able to use that high line. You can just see the momentum that he was able to generate up there, and already has taken over the lead. Dylan Banks, 70 machine, already wasting no time, as we also see a battle now for third place. Patrick Gitter, Randy Mullins duking it out for that podium spot. And it looks like Patrick Gitter has secured that position. Now he's going to set sail and possibly try to see if he can catch up to Abner Acosta. We see Randy Mullins, who was fastest in practice. I think Randy's probably trying to save the tires.
Yeah, good clean start by everyone there. It's 2-3 wide in the background, but at the moment, Banks, Acosta, Gitter and Mullins off into the, well, not into the distance, but off in front at the moment with a clean set of heels, with Hill in the 5th position, right in behind as well. But it's definitely sheep stations in the background. You can see that really, really good driving by everyone. Only 5 into 313 is the 26 there. Has a little bit of a look up on the inside out of turn number 2. Couldn't get the job done. That's allowing the 92 Nitro car get a real good run on the outside here. And he's going to have a look into turn number 1 and 2. No room there. And they're going to keep going through. But the 92 is going to keep his nose on the inside and really try and stay there. So can he get the job done on the 26 through 3 and 4? He's not quite going to be able to do it. What we're going to see, gentlemen, tonight, they're racing hard at the moment. I did mention it and segue in it earlier in the broadcast. As these long runs go on, and what good shots there by Kobe, as these long runs go on, the cars are going to get tight, so they're going to want to push up to the outside wall out of 1 and 2. So is the car set up to be able to run high and diamond down, or is it set up to run low and to be able to push off? We're about to find out, as the 92 still holds hard there on the inside of the 54.
Yeah, Clayton always is really good. Go ahead.
That 92 car, that's none other than Clayton Hoffman. Good to see Clayton actually making it up to the front seat here. And I guarantee you, now that we actually see him, I don't think he's going to go away. Because Clayton, you know, he's kind of itching for a win as well there, Brian.
No, I agree. I was getting ready to say that. That, you know, Clayton has, in a lot of ways, had a lot of bad luck here lately, Big Al. I mean, the guy has, you know, been close to, you know, some really good finishes, but then things have just seemed to go wrong over the last couple weeks. So you could tell he is hungry to get back to victory lane. This guy is also, you know, talking about what you were just saying, Aiden, about the handling, you know, maybe being a problem. Well, Clayton knows how to remedy that. This guy is a setup guru. I mean, he knows how to make adjustments to these cars to make them handle exactly how he needs them to handle. So watch out that Clayton's probably taking notes and making adjustments as this race goes on, especially towards the end of stage 1. I would not be surprised when we see him adjusting on that race car.
Yeah, definitely.
You go.
I said definitely going to be going to school as well as applying pressure, Brian, because, I mean, guys, these guys are definitely going to want to try to stay up front, try to stay out of the back, because I guarantee you that's where the most of that's where the accidents actually come from, right? Aiden?
Yeah, definitely. They want to keep out of trouble. The mid pack's where it's going to be at the moment. They've done a great job, 14 into 313. So yeah, Banks off into the distance. Acosta, I did hear over the wall. He had a bad run last week. He was meant to win at Watkins, as you said. So he's out for redemption. So he's in second place, and he's only 0.2 of a second behind Banks at the moment as well. So there's a fight for the lead on your screen at the moment. The 55 on the outside. So it looks like that car's really hooked up on the outside, and he's going to get clear out of turn number 1 and 2. And we've got a new leader here at Bristol.
Yeah, definitely good to see, though, that Dylan Banks is actually out there putting a little pressure on, getting himself up into the mix as well. And guys, that's going to bring us to another question. And Brian, I would think we're going to talk about this a little bit, because this is drop night. So how much do non-playoff drivers, I mean, how much of an impact should they be able to have on the narrative?
I mean, that's a really good question. I think that they're going to have a big impact. I don't think anyone's going to really just give up positions. I think they're going to race as hard as they need to. They're going to do – I mean, these guys, even though they might not be in the playoff picture, they still are in the Racing for Honor picture. They want to win in the ISCA. This is a huge trophy to have. I mean, if you can say, hey, I won in the ISCA, that's a big thing. That's a big boasting. That's like something to boast about, Big Al. If I won in the ISCA, you best believe I'd be boasting about it.
I bet your head would probably be a little bit bigger than it is right now. I'll tell you what, if I won an ISCA, I'd take the rest of the year off.
I'm just saying, this is a star-studded series with some insanely competitive drivers. We see Derek Jacobs. He was getting ready to go a lap down. He decides to dip down pit road and get out of the way. That's probably a really good call for him, but it's unfortunate, though, that he seems like maybe the car just not handling like he wants it to.
You know, and we love Derek, so hopefully one day he's going to get to the point where, you know, he's actually out there up front leading the race. You know, he's actually had a couple good runs at super speedways, but as of late here, yeah, I think he's just been riding a struggle bus as well.
Yeah, 100%. Aiden, any thoughts about what's going on? Where are you watching?
I'm watching what Kobe's got on the broadcast at the moment. So the 19 and the 28, 2x2 here out of turn number 3 and 4 at Bristol here for the 313. But what I'm liking the most about it, mate, we're 24 laps in, no caution at the bullring. A lot of jostling for positions, and especially in a playoff race where we're going to see 4, as we've mentioned on a couple of occasions tonight. 4 go home without the cookies and only 12 will progress forward. Of course, all these drivers as well, they still want to play for a race win. So there's a championship and race wins at stake at the moment. So 2 different races within a race as the 5 gets a little bit close there on the outside. But what I'm most impressed with is the different lines that these drivers are taking around the track and the way they're navigating their way around. So we're going to see it a little bit different. So we're going to probably get about an 80 or 90 lap run, I'd suggest, here with fuel. So as the tyres wear off, we're going to see different strategy. I did realise when we had a change for the lead early in the race, it was done around the high line. And you can see the 5 there just sort of sitting through the midline, diming it back off on the exit and getting a really good run. Now he goes to the low. So he'll lose a lot of run on the exit. You'll see the cars on the exit on the outside get a good run. So there's the difference. So do you want to push down low and try hard, or do you want to sit there through the mid to high line and try and navigate your way around? We're only 29 into 313. We've got probably nearly 280 to sort this out.
Yeah, we also see someone just dropped down pit road. Randy Mullins apparently is now 14 laps down. I don't know if we missed something there with him, but one thing I just noticed there with the 13 of Dave Fuge Jr., he seems like he's really struggling. And that's one thing I noticed in the A Opens, is that bottom line is going to be very difficult to navigate on the longer runs. You're going to see the car being a little bit tight, maybe even loose on exit of the corners when you're running that bottom side. Because, Big Al, one thing you're always talking about is having to bend the race car. And this is a track where you're going to have to really bend that race car, the line down on the bottom side. As we're watching the 54 here, we're not exactly sure what happened here to Randy Mullins. And this is definitely not going to be good for him in the points in the playoffs. Of course, I do believe he's still fairly secure when it comes to his point situation, though.
Yeah, absolutely secure in his point situation as well as his manhood. But I want to hit back on what Aiden said. I do agree that 5 car is struggling out there just a little bit. Interested that you pointed that out. But yeah, there he is right there. I mean, what's Greg doing? No, I'm just kidding a little bit. But man, it's definitely getting a little bit crazy out here.
It's very easy, Big Al, to just jump in and race a little bit hard here around Bristol. It's a track that really rewards momentum and it rewards underdriving. So if you see here as we're on board, driving that low line gets really tight up onto the exit, doesn't allow you to get the power down. So trying to overdrive the car, you really got to underdrive the car, let it brake and roll. There's a car on the inside, and that'll probably bring out our first caution.
Caution is out, and that of course is the 34.
Speaking of cautions, we didn't do the over-under.
We sure didn't. Of course, you got to be higher than 1. That, of course, I do want to mention is the 34 of Benjamin Stevens. He is a driver from the Spartan Series, which is very, very popular series on the iRacing service. The 34 looks like spins pretty much. I think he touched the apron a little bit on the exit. Got a little bit loose getting back to the gas, and that's definitely something that's very easy to do at this racetrack, and he spins it around. It doesn't look like he's gotten a lot of damage out of the race car. I think he's going to be able to live to fight another day here. But speaking of over the under, I'm thinking I'm going to go 4 cautions. We've already had 1. I'm going to go 4 cautions for cause.
4. Big Al's going to call it with 5. 5 cautions for cause. Aiden?
I'm going to go 8. We're going to have 2 green, white checkers.
8. We only get 1. You want to change that to 7?
We're going to go 7. Yep, we're going to go 7.
And my buddy behind the scenes making it all happen, what's your call?
So you go on the hopeful side for racing, I go on the hopeful side for broadcasting. So commentary.
Toby's actually saying that he projects 3 cautions. That's why I was laughing out loud. You folks couldn't hear that. But yeah, Kobe's going to break it with 3. I love to see it. I can't wait to see how this thing plays out.
What I really find interesting, though, here, I'm sure this is big out what you're getting ready to touch on. We got a split strategy here for some drivers deciding to pop down pit road and take tires. This stage ends on lap 65 to 66. What's their take? I think this shows how important tires are.
Well, I think I'm going to take a stab at it and say these guys, they might be setting themselves up for the second stage as well. You know, if they, from the back end of the pack, didn't have an actual shot at actually getting around everybody and make it happen, I could definitely see the reason why you.
That was Passalacqua. He was in second place. Clayton Hoffman, he was in the top 5.
He's got nothing to lose.
Yeah, and I just dropped down here. I was in pit lane there, boys. Brandon Passalacqua coming down pit lane, making that strategy change. So they've come through. I don't think they've taken a set of tyres yet, 39 into 313, but we had a couple of leaders come through pit lane. They're on a different strategy here.
So I'm just to make sure I check the statistics here. Brandon Passalacqua spent 14.2 seconds in his box. He did take tires. Now, I don't know. I did see some other stops. We did see some guys that didn't take tires.
So 40 in the 313, we can confirm Passalacqua did take tyres. So up the front in the race, the 70 of Banks staying out in the front of this motor race. But a couple of guys down on pit lane, it's definitely happening over the wall, and the strategies are playing out here for stage number 1. Only 40 into 313, you can tell I'm getting excited. But I tell you what, there's a lot to play out, boys. I'll let you bring him to the green. And yeah, we saw Passalacqua go down pit lane and a couple of the other guys in contention. But Banksy at the front, he's staying in P1. We'll see what happens with another 270 to go.
Yeah, I'm
a little worried.
I don't know if Dylan's actually in contention for the playoffs, but yeah, it's awesome though to see how this does shake out. I mean, maybe these guys don't get a good run, maybe they don't get up front, but maybe they get to start off the second stage with track position.
Yeah, I think I was saying Banksy in contention for the race. My apologies, but anyway, we're about to go green, boys. So I'll let you call it.
And there it is. Green flag is out here as we have the second start of the night. And Dylan Banks wasting no time to get up through the gears. We see Patrick Gitter rockets his way up to second place as he's able to scoot right on by Abner Acosta. I think Patrick's thinking of possibly going for the lead here. Gitter, always a great at these oval racetracks as he comes up to the back end of the 70 machine. Of course, I also see a little bit further back Tim Wortman Jr. versus Jose Acosta. We see Alexander Carr. Alexander Carr is last in the top 16 in the playoffs. He absolutely needs to do well in this race. You can tell he's up in the top 10. He's looking to do it. Oh, caution is out as it looks like we have another accident on the racetrack.
Nope, not just yet.
It is a big wreck. Clayton Hoffman involved, Jason Maines, John Bender, Brandon Passalacqua. The guys that just pitted on that last caution are tangled up in this mess.
Oh, listen to this.
Let's take a look.
We got Greg Wachinski, Brandon Passalacqua, and Clayton Hoffman, all with repairs required. And that's a pretty big deal. That's a pretty hard hit, especially on a track like this.
This is not ideal for Schaffner. Because Schaffner is actually he had a stellar week last week at Watkins, but the ending of that race caused him to lose a ton of positions.
Can we rerun that back one more again?
It seems like this has something to do with Jay Hone. You see Dave Fuge Jr.
I'm looking at the 13 there. If you watch it there, Mr. Fuge, I'm just going to take a stab at it and say I think that's going to be your source. Yep, just that little bump right there to the wall kind of caused Schaffner to get off, and then he's kind of out of it right there. So yeah, there's your bandit.
Yeah, I don't know if I would say that was the 13's fault. I think that it was just kind of like, I'd say that they were. I almost would even say it was all three of them together in a way. 3 wide at Bristol rarely works out well. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, looking at in hindsight, it's all 3 of them that come down to that. As we,
I really say that was just
I think that's the racing incident there, and that's what Bristol does.
Yeah, unfortunately, the admins of this series are going to have to, give penalty points for causing that caution. But I'll tell you what, a lot of drivers got caught up in that. That's going to be just a huge result, or I'd say influence on the results. I mean, you even said it, Big Al. When we saw some guys get some meatball flags because of that wreck.
Yeah, absolutely. You talk about making your own luck, guys. That's just really going to have huge implications here. Just
Look at
especially
that
for the rest
damage
of the
right
race.
there. I mean, look at the damage on the front of the corn man, Josh Schaffner. I mean, that's some big damage, and he is one of the guys. I don't know if he's actually safe when it comes to if he's not able to finish this race and doesn't gain stage points. This could be the death nail possibly in a driver like Schaffner's playoff hopes.
We were talking about this early before the race even started. The key to the race car tonight is just going to be staying out of trouble. And we just saw guys kind of tried to, no matter what, they were trying to hedge their luck, maybe get to the back of the pack. We don't know exactly what was going on, but it just backfired.
And we got drivers like Brandon Passalacqua. Of course, he's secure when it comes to going to the next round. He's out of the race car right now. Greg Wyszynski, of course, I do believe is pretty much secure. I think it's really close for him. He is right now 2 laps down. Paul Olson, he is 7 laps down. So we're definitely seeing some big effects here. Looks like we're getting ready to go back green, though.
The good news is everyone has their damage fixed, although Wyszynski's still down on pit road.
And here we go, Dylan Banks once again set to get this thing underway as we get ready for our third start of the evening. Of course, remember this stage goes to lap 65 to 66. As there goes the pace car down pit road. Green flag is back out as Banks once again wasting no time up through the gears. Last week's winner, Matt DiCiani, trying to work his way up onto the podium as he's on that high side, battling with Abner Acosta as they're side by side for third place. Kenny Powell. I think Powell is almost in a must-win situation right now. And guess what? He's up in the top 6, almost the top 5 right now. Look at the 24 go. He's been racing a lot in the A Opens, and I'll tell you what, he's been looking fast. Last night he was in, I do believe, a top split race and finished 5th.
Yeah, and you can see that outside line really starting to come into the groove as Decani made the move up into P3, but on the 42 there of Acosta, sort of sitting that midline, the 18 in behind him of Alexander Carr. Alexander doing a good job tonight as well, as we're on board with Powell in the 8th position. So we're nearly at the end of the first stage, only 12 laps to go. They're navigating up to that higher line, and that's the fastest way around the racetrack at the moment as we go yellow again.
Yep, Jeffrey Sousa definitely trying to find a way around. Yet another yellow flag. I mean, hey, who picked 8? I think that guy's going to be sitting in a great seat because, I mean, guys, we're already up to 3, and we haven't made it to the first stage.
I picked 7, Big Al. We can't have 8,
look,
remember?
The 92 of Clayton Hoffman definitely involved. I do believe Brian Johnson, Nick King, as well as Clayton Hoffman.
Again?
This is going to, and yeah, unfortunately, this is some damage for the 92. And we see, of course, the 3. I think the 3 was getting ready to get passed by, I do believe, Brian Johnson. You see the 3 gets into the rear end of
Randy Drumhiller.
Yeah, that's the 44 of Drumhiller. You see King gets into the back of the 44. Unfortunately, I don't believe Brian Johnson was realizing that he would check up so much.
Yeah,
and
he was right
unfortunately,
there on the inside.
Yeah.
And Clayton, man, poor Clayton. I guess he was better when I was calling him Clayton Powell.
I guess so.
Yeah,
well, I mean, Clayton didn't really get a lot of damage there, so that's one good thing about it.
Yeah, but we're talking about Clayton's luck, and he's just not been having good luck as of late, Brian. So, I mean, hopefully he can get over that, especially now that we're in the playoffs, because I definitely think he is not a dark horse, but he is definitely a strong favorite to take this thing.
I mean, he has always been, I think, anytime you see Clayton Hoffman running all the races in a season, you expect he's going to be one of the drivers running for the championship. And I do think he still is. I don't think he's out of this yet. I think even if he has a bad night tonight, I think he's still going to be moving on to the next round. He's pretty secure in the points at the moment. But this, you don't want to have bad luck. Momentum is momentum. Even if you make it to the next round, if you're having a run of bad luck, that can kind of continue to affect you. So I'm curious to see if he's going to be able to turn this around, as you saw the heavy damage on the front of the 92.
Yeah, man. That's kind of like my go-to guy.
Yeah, me too.
Late, man. People been really taking it to him.
He's definitely one of the most talented drivers. I don't think it's stretching the truth by saying that Clayton is one of the most talented drivers on the iRacing NASCAR scene.
Yeah, absolutely. And Aiden, just to pick up back on what you were saying just a little bit, man. So this even is going to play into the tire wear, because now you're going to be going through heat cycles. I mean, pretty much, because these tires are now going to get cold, then they're going to get hot, then they're going to get cold. So unless we can figure out how to come up with a consistent pace, I mean, that even could be an issue.
Yeah, it will be, mate. And at the end of the day, we did see Passalacqua there go through pit lane, as we saw about 20 laps ago, who unfortunately got caught up in that incident and has been stuck stationary in pit lane for quite a long time. So we've only got 7 laps here in this stage. 1 set of tyres taken by some people. Has everyone taken a set of tyres? We're about to find out. It looks like they may have. But are they going to set themselves up into stage number 2 to be able to have a good clean run to go into stage number 3? So not only do we have the race on the track at the moment, we've then got the stages, we've got everything in a different tyre strategy that people are playing out at the moment. But Dylan Banks at the front, he's been at the front all night tonight, 58 into 313 here at Bristol. He's going to lead us to the green flag over Patrick Gitter, Acosta and Decani. So I'll let you boys bring it to the green.
Yeah.
Well, the green flag is out on the racetrack as Dylan Banks once again just takes off like a rocket ship, as we see Matt DeCiani battling with Abner Acosta for the 3rd place position. We see Kenny Powell battling, I do believe, with Jeffrey Souza. Of course, Souza, a non-playoff factor. He, once again, kind of talking about non-playoff drivers battling with playoff drivers. Well, Souza is not a playoff driver, and he's not feeling like there's anything wrong with battling here, and I don't blame him at all. He's wanting to try to get as many positions as he can.
He'd actually been
a little bit of a block there. Puts Kenny up into the wall. That was Paul Hill.
He's got to be frustrated, because he has been literally trying to get around these guys for the last 5 laps or so. So, and that's another thing. The drivers, big whoops right behind these guys as we're going 3 wide yet again at Bristol, which I didn't get the brief, but never have I ever heard that 3 wide at Bristol was a good idea.
It usually ends very poorly. And I think a lot of these guys are going to be doing some crazy moves as well, just because of the frustration factor. I mean, you got to think, like if you're in the 92 shoes, he's probably a little upset right now, and he's willing to make moves that maybe he wouldn't be willing to make otherwise at other times. We do have, of course, Dylan Banks under fire from Patrick Gitter. Battle for the lead is underway as Gitter is now underneath. And, of course, we have Jason, I do believe, Maine's lap car in front of this battle.
Yep, now the lap traffic has actually arrived. Now that this here, guys, I don't think is going to be going anywhere. The best news is that this stage really doesn't have many laps to go left in it before we're actually officially done with stage 1. And I don't think that could come sooner for anybody.
And have a look at that midline and highline run from Matt DeCiani here. At the end of this first stage, he's really making that work, and he's going to make Banksy work for this, but they are with caution, so he couldn't quite get there done. But I was saying earlier that mid to high line is going to work on a long green flag run. We saw that by the 70. By the 21.
One thing I've noticed as well, the Abner Acosta.
I'll get it right.
Okay, so Abner Acosta is now 4 laps down. I'm not sure exactly what happened there to Abner, but let's go down through the top 10 here, finishers. These are going to be the stage points that are going to be gathered and processed here. Dylan Banks, of course, your winner of stage 1. Patrick Gitter 2nd. Matt DeCiani in 3rd. Jose Acosta in 4th. Alexander Carr in 5th. Kenny Powell in 6th. Tim Wortman Jr. in 7th. Kendall LeVron in 8th. Paul Hill 9th. And Greg Carr rounds out the top 10. So good days for Alexander Carr. Kenny Powell, going to be some points there for them. Let's take a brief step away. We'll come right back, and we'll talk to, hopefully, our Stage 1 winner.
Hello and good afternoon. My name is Randy Mullins, driver of the 54 Chevrolet for Paradigm Motorsports. As you can see, we're sponsoring the race tonight, so I'm going to give you a little insight on ISCA. People ask me all the time, why do you run that league? Well, I run it for a few reasons. The long green flag runs, the good respect level that's in there, along with their etiquette. Everyone drives clean and it's fun, but they also race very hard. That is something I've yet to find in any other league on the iRacing server, and you dang sure are not going to get those in the opens. So if you're not in it, come check us out.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Of course, we just saw the end of stage number 1 where Dylan Banks was able to secure the stage 1 win. Let's bring him up. And we got him in the booth. Dylan, are you available? Dylan Banks, do you read us?
I sure do. What's up, guys?
Hey, man, good job on that stage 1 win. How's the race car feeling? It seemed like you were having to duke it out pretty heavily there with Gitter.
Oh, man. Felt great. For the first green flag run we had, car was really good. After them heat cycles, though, I got a little tight. I honestly think it was just the heat cycles, though. All the cautions and stuff. It kind of just, I guess it just kind of disrupted the car a little bit. But other than that, the car feels great, especially long run. Just sitting on the bottoms, saving all I can. But yeah, it felt good. Gitter was fast, and DeCiani as well. All the boys here really fast. So just grateful for the opportunity to win the stage.
Definitely. Now, how does it feel to be like a non-playoff driver, kind of going against these guys that are going after playoffs, like kind of to get into the next round?
You were saying how is it for
Yeah, but I'm saying do you feel like you're having to walk on eggshells a little bit?
Well, obviously taking it careful. I'm not out here to ruin anybody's playoffs. I'm just out here just enjoying it, just doing what I can do without messing anybody up tonight. That's going to be the goal.
All right, well, I know we don't have a lot of time. We'll let you get back to it, Dylan. Good luck in the rest of your race.
Thank you, guys.
All right, that was Dylan Banks in the 70 machine, of course, driving for, I do believe, EPI. Green flag is back out on the racetrack, and he definitely looks like he's got some speed. Of course, I do believe Mark Sanchez and I do believe Jason Maines both stayed out on old tires. As there goes James to the inside.
And this is one of those situations like we had last week where these guys aren't really on the pace as a lot of the guys behind them. So that's going to make for another little bit of a issue. Not an issue, but it is going to be a situation the driver's going to have to deal with.
And this is such a difficult track to kind of navigate around guys that are on older tires. I mean, you only have a couple options. I mean, there really is only 2 lanes around this place. Of course, you can run the middle lane, but it's very scary to do so if you're going to try to take someone 3 wide. So you just have to kind of pick your battles and wait your turn to be able to get by a slower car. And I think that's where Kenny Powell and Jose Acosta, they're kind of in that place right now, trying to get by Jason Maines at the moment, who's on older tires.
Yeah, it's just what you hope that you don't force these guys into a 3-wide situation, and you hope they don't get into a situation where they just become too impatient, Brian. That's going to be the key.
Yeah, 100%. Of course, Mark Sanchez is holding on pretty well in third place position. I know he's one that really wants to get as many points as he can so he can possibly move on to the next round as we see the battle for the lead once again resuming between Patrick Gitter and Dylan Banks. These guys have been battling almost all race long. It looks like Gitter has finally taken the top spot in that Team Conti 21.
Yeah, Gitter's definitely he's been wanting to get up front. Now, Abner Acosta was up front. He was really kind of battling back and forth.
Oh, Jose Acosta problems.
Jose definitely sideways in the backstretch. This one's not over yet. Caution out on the racetrack. This is the fourth caution, guys, and I think we just tore up a lot more race cars than we did before.
No, I definitely think so. Jose Acosta got some major front end damage. Looks like some possible contact between Kendall and Ron. Look, you see Jose coming off the corner, got loose, comes down into Kendall. Kendall's race is going to be completely decimated after that hit. That was such a big front end hit. And look at this. I mean, J.C. Evans nowhere to go. I do believe that's Tim Wortman Jr. You see Jeffrey Souza, Nick King, Randy Drumhiller, Paul Hill. That was a lot of race cars right there that just got
I
killed.
think that would be the official, what we would call the big one for the evening here, guys. Let me see what we got going on. This one doesn't play as bad. Looks like we got Jay Home, Kendall LeVron,
Oh,
and
they're still hitting
Paul
each other.
Whitley. Oh, J.C. Evans. We got J.C. Evans, Jay Home, Kendall LeVron, Paul Whitley, all recipients of the dreaded repairs required flag.
Man, what an incident for these drivers out there on the racetrack. I mean, that was the big one. I think there is no misrepresenting that. And all it took was one little mistake. I mean, you saw Jose was battling really hard with LeVron and just came off the corner and got a little bit wiggly. That's all it took was a little wiggle off the corner. He came down and hit LeVron. LeVron just went face first, essentially, into the inside wall, and then just calamity ensued with the people behind him. I mean, that's one thing that's so bad about this racetrack. I mean, I love this track. It's so much fun. But when an accident happens, a big accident, it blocks the entire track.
There's nowhere to go. And that's the problem a lot of those drivers ran into, because these guys didn't want to just come out here and tear their cars up. Here we are right at the beginning of stage 2. Really no reason to race, but yet we had the biggest wreck of the day.
And down here in pit lane, guys, we've got Paul Whitley, who's obviously stationary in pit lane. A lot of cars involved in that. They're going to want to get their cars repaired and back out into this one, but Gitter and Banks will lead the way. You can see stationary there in pit lane, so hopefully these guys can get their cars repaired and back out there.
Yep, right now we're only showing Kendall LeVron and Paul Whitley that are still actually have repairs that are required. Good idea, good that they could actually get down there and get those repairs fixed relatively quickly and not lose as many laps.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, and this is one of those tracks where you can still, turn laps and have a damaged race car. This is not a 1.5 mile track to where if you get, aero damage, your day is done. Bristol, you can have a little bit of a hurt race car and still be able to make some sort of speed around this place. So, not a surprise to see some guys going to be trying to limp it around to try to see if they can just gather as many points as they can to finish this thing out. But I'll tell you what, like I said before, this is all going to be about survival. If you just stay alive, if you can somehow figure out a way to avoid the wrecks, you're going to be looking like, gold at the end of this thing. And I think that's exactly what we're seeing from some of these drivers. That's the main goal. I guarantee you, on the checkbox of tonight's race, their goals and their priorities, like Kenny Powell, Alexander Carr, finish. That's it. Finish. As here we go. Pace car lights are out. Patrick Gitter getting ready to get this thing back underway. And there it is. Green flag is back out as we're in the midst of stage number 2. And Gitter able to secure the lead. Side by side, though, Jason Maines and Mark Sanchez battling for that third place position. And of course, I do remember Mark Sanchez and I do believe Jason Maines are both on a little bit older tires. They're managing to hold on to positions, but I do believe Kenny Powell getting a little bit hungry in that 24.
Yeah, definitely. He's going to be trying to get up into the mix. Right there on the bottom of your screen, you did see the 5 of Greg Wachinski. He was actually getting back onto the racing surface, so he is back out there and on his way. Gitter is out front now. This is something that he has been trying to do. He's been trying to get to the lead of this thing. Now that he has the lead, Brian, because he started all the way back in 6th, how long do you think he's going to keep it?
I think he's going to stay up there quite a while. Look at that. We see Josh Schaffner kind of running on the bottom side. He's got a very heavily damaged car. I think Gitter's one driver that can he's always got a good head on his shoulders. That's one thing that you can always say about Patrick Gitter. The guy knows how to make good decisions. And when it comes to getting around lap traffic, I think he'll be able to make really very responsible, logical decisions. So I don't think Gitter's going to give this position up easily. So I think he's one that he usually stays up in the lead, so we'll have to wait and see. But the battle has definitely been on for this third spot. Jason Maines has not been easy to pass. I mean, Jason, in a lot of ways, has been making this very difficult on Kenny Powell. Powell, of course, is catching up quickly to, I believe, Dylan Banks. Banks is maybe struggling a little bit on this short run.
Yeah, I mean, but the one thing is, hopefully these guys will be able to keep the green flag out, because as Dylan was saying, the heat cycles, that's what's actually making the cars handle bad. So the longer that green flag stays out at Bristol, the better off it's going to be for for all parties involved. As far as Maines and some of the other guys, they've got the right to race. I mean, Tennessee is a right to race state.
And guys, real quickly from pit lane, Jose Acosta is stationary in pit lane still. Paul Olsen's going around. He's gained a couple of laps on Jose, and Josh Schaffner still stationary in pit lane as we yellow again.
Olsen's out, guys. Got a big wreck right there.
Jeffrey
I
Souza.
started to see that thing go sideways.
Hated that interrupted you there, Aiden, but it looks like we do have a caution on the speedway. Jeffrey Souza, I do believe, going to be the epicenter of this crash. As we see exactly what happened. Looks like might have just got loose trying to avoid going up into the car above him.
And there's Randy Drumheller, nowhere to go.
Yeah. And unfortunately, guys, well, go ahead, Big Al. What's the good news? Because I'd love to hear it.
Neither one of those two guys are going to have to make a mandatory trip down pit road. So no repairs are going to be required. But, yeah, wow, what a show, right?
I'll tell you what, the bad news is that Randy Drumheller, he's 15th in the points right now. His race right now is going very, very poorly. It seems like he's got a magnet on that race car that is attracting all sorts of trouble. And he doesn't need trouble in this race. He doesn't need trouble. He needs to be doing phenomenally in this race. Otherwise, he's out of the playoffs.
And, you mentioned Randy, I love it, Randy Drumheller. And I'm thinking about Kenny Powell because Kenny, I mean, he's smack dab in the middle of hell with gasoline drawers on. I mean, he's really got to come out of this thing unscathed if he even wants any shot to race next week to still be in contention, Brian. Because, I mean, he's kind of back there in bubble land.
Well, yeah, for sure. But, I mean, he's doing what he needs to do to gain points, and that's one thing that I think he's doing the right thing. But he does need to still survive. I mean, he can't afford to race too crazily with guys like Tim Wortman Jr., Jason Maines. He has to race smart. But he also knows that I think Kenny, in a lot of ways, is in a must-win. I think that he's like, even if I get stage points, it's not going to save me from moving on to next week. I need to win this race, and that's why I think he's kind of throwing caution to the wind, and I can't really blame him. He's got the car to do it. It seems like he's got a fast race car. He was right there on the keister of Dylan Banks.
Yeah, but nobody wants to come into Bristol with it, having it as a must-win situation. I mean, you're much better off in a track like Talladega that's coming up than you are finding yourself in a must-win at Bristol. It's the luck of the draw here, man. Anything could happen.
Yeah, and just down from pit lane, boys, just having a look at everyone going through pit lane at the moment. Paul Hill still stationary in pit lane. Dave Hughes just coming out of pit lane as well. Jeffrey Souza, doing a stop as well. He's up there in behind the pace car, as you see. But he's going to get away by. Couple of cars stationary at the moment. They got a lot of repairs done, but at the moment, if we have a look, Fuge coming out on the track in the 13, he's still got a lot of damage, so back in the 15th position. Souza out there as well, Phil out there as well, everyone gone through after that incident, so it looks like it's all reset here, and Patrick Gitter will take us from the pole. But it's definitely shaked everything up here at the front of the motorway, so a lot happening through pit lane here. Midway through this second stage, rather.
And here we are. Green flag is back out here at Bristol Motor Speedway. Patrick Gitter up through the gears once again, and as of course we see Dylan Banks really sending it into the corner to try to catch and kind of see if he can maybe limit that gap between him and Patrick Gitter. Of course, Tim Wortman Jr. with a really good start. He's going to go toe-to-toe with Kenny Powell, and it looks like Wortman's going to get the run on the high side and be able to take over third place position. Brian Johnson, another driver, he's up in the top 6 right now, as we see Greg Carr and Alexander Carr battling for 8th. They, of course, are the nephew and uncle pairing.
Yeah, man, and Randy Drumheller, like you said, he's still out there, Brian, and he's still like, he's doing what he's got to do to get it done. And one thing, when Patrick Gitter gets up front, it's a masterclass. That's a guy where you want to follow his line and just go to school. As Mark Sanchez comes up, looks like he is trying to get by Jason Maines.
Yeah, I think that
he and Clayton Hoffman both.
And Clayton's been having quite a bit of struggles here in this race, but fortunately for him, he's back up in the top 10, so it's not looking too bad for Clayton right now, is where I do believe now have less than 40 laps to go here in stage number 2. Patrick Gitter, kind of going back to that, what you were talking about him. He is always good at maintaining and managing the lead. He doesn't try to pull away. That's one thing I think this is one of his strengths. He's able to kind of just watch that gap, leave it at the same gap. Doesn't need to be extravagant. He just needs to hold on to the lead and manage his tires.
Yeah, and we've actually seen him, like, kind of do the cat and mouse thing where he'll actually lay way off and give guys the illusion that they're actually catching them, but in turn he's just kind of making them burn their tires up.
Yeah, that's exactly true. He does that a lot. He is that guy that a lot of people sleep on him. They forget about Patrick Gitter, but he is the reigning champion of the ISCA Super Cup Series. I mean, you don't win these championships by
My God, I'm gonna say it. He's the Ricky Bobby of the ISCA is what he is.
I mean, he is. He's one of the best drivers in this series, and he's in contention week in and week out. As we see Tim Wortman Jr. really putting a lot of pressure on Dylan Banks. Looks like Tim Wortman's got that high line figured out. He gets a really good run on the exit, and now they go side by side as Wortman is going to try to go for second. Now, Wortman, I don't believe he's been in victory lane, but I'll tell you what, this guy has been really, really close. Been knocking on the door for victory lane for quite some time, and could this be the race to do it? Of course, he's got a long way to go. And I know Big Al's getting ready to say something because I just said that.
Yeah, I mean, well, at least you caught yourself this time, but you speak that into existence. We've got a lot of laps to go here, Brian. I mean, the way this thing started, if there's any reflection of the way this thing is going to end, I mean, Leroy ain't getting out of the flag stand tonight, that's for sure.
Oh, no, he's not going to get to go kiss Thelma Lou, that's for sure. Thelma Lou, unfortunately, is going to go without kisses here tonight.
Hey, easy killer. Leroy's with Miss Molamina.
Oh no! I done told on him. Leroy's gonna get in trouble.
He might be sleeping in the flag stand tonight.
He might be. Look at Clayton Hoffman though, really putting a lot of pressure on the back end of Mark Sanchez. I gotta say, if I was in Clayton's shoes after the race he's had, I bet he's gonna be impatient. I mean, I could just see that. A lot of times with these racetracks, races at Bristol, this is a breeding ground for being aggravated. This track brings out the worst in people, I'll be honest with
you. Yeah, it does. And I was been watching the lap times here, and we really don't have much of a big difference between the front and the back of the pack. Everybody's just kind of in there, melded together. No one really standing out, although Gitter is definitely, I think he's got one of the fastest lap times so far.
Yeah, I think that's the key about this race, though. You don't want to have the fastest lap. I don't think that's the key. I think you want to be the most consistent on the longest run, and that's what you're kind of looking for. Right now, though, I'm seeing speed from Brian Johnson. It looks like we got somebody on pit road. I do believe that is J.C. Evans, who's decided to come back down.
That's affirmative. Aiden, what are you seeing down there, boss?
I'm just seeing some explosions.
Why is the track exploding?
That was weird. I think somebody just threw a grenade onto the racetrack.
It's been doing it all night, and I'm just like, what the hell?
Yeah, I don't know what that was. He said I was Abner Acosta, I think our producer said. I think he's having some issues. We've been seeing a lot of connection issues this week at Bristol. I don't know if that's something to do with the new iRacing update or what's going on. Very loose, DeCiani, yeah.
Yeah, he had a little bit of trouble there. Actually, almost caused him to make contact with Mr. Johnson.
Yeah, Brian Johnson looking really good in that DB Builder machine there. Of course, Brian is one of the fastest cars on the racetrack right now. But even so, that's one thing that's so difficult about Bristol. You can be the fastest car on the track, but it's insanely hard to pass, especially when the guy's very close in pace to you. So you're going to really have to wait for that guy to make a mistake. One thing I've heard of a technique that a lot of guys are using is you kind of do the fake-out maneuver at this racetrack. You run right on their keister, look like you're going to go low, make them think you're going to go low, and when they go low to block you, you just stick your nose in above them.
Now, I got a question, because we got Tim Wortman Jr., who right now is running solid behind Patrick Gitter. Now, he got tremendous speed from out of somewhere. But do you think maybe he's going to become a victim of Gitter, where Gitter's just like making him burn his tires up?
It could very well be the case. As we see, I do believe Matt DeCiani is just passed by Kenny Powell. So it looks like Powell may be struggling a little bit here on the longer run. As of course, we're coming up now 18 laps to go here in stage number 2. So this is interesting to see, what are the tires going to look like on the long run? What kind of adjustments can we see from these guys? As we see Powell kind of stuck on that bottom side, not liking the way that car's handling.
I don't think she likes to be down there like that. You can definitely see right there now Jason Main's going to get by the 24 Powell. Now he's pulling up, but he's got his GG teammate there, Mark Sanchez, coming behind him. Remember, Sanchez actually started this stage towards the front. As we see Paul Olsen actually coming down pit road.
Yeah, Mark actually looks okay on the bottom. Looks like that car can kind of pass down there. It really just depends on your setup. Now, most drivers, I think, on the long run are going to start to progress to the top of the racetrack. But the tire-saving line is that bottom line. You're going to see, if you're by yourself on the racetrack, you're going to kind of want to try to arc the corner, run the entire track. And, we talk about this all the time about bending the race car, bending that line down. When you're running just that bottom line by itself and you're having to bend it, that causes more tire wear. So I think that's what we're seeing from Kenny Powell. He's not able to, as Aiden even said, you're not able to really, arc the corner. You're not able to extend the corner out. You really want to make the track as straight as you possibly can to maintain momentum.
I'm an early breaker at Bristol. I kind of set it and forget it. Once you kind of got the turn where you want it, you just kind of roll on through it. I don't know. I suck, but I actually have one here years ago. I won't tell anybody. Don't fact check me, people. Just take my word for it.
Everybody's looking at at your iRacing profile now. Matt DeCiani, last week's winner at Watkins Glen, he's up to now 3rd place. Just got by Tim Wortman Jr. I think Wortman maybe has burned his tires up. Looking at the lap times, 15.384 from Wortman. Looks like he's struggling a little bit.
Yeah, Nick King definitely kind of came in hot there onto the back of 44 Randy Drumhill. This right here is going to be a little bit of source of contention, I can tell.
And this is what I'm looking at right now. We're seeing this long run. Some drivers are struggling a lot more than others. Now, guess what we're coming up on, Big Al? The longest run of the race, stage number 3. There's a lot of guys that are in trouble. If this is how their long run looks, they are in trouble.
I mean, I think everybody's strategy just kind of went out of the window right here. I mean, once we started this thing, basically, in my opinion, it seemed like it was going to be a good idea to do this or do that, but now I think drivers are just scrambling.
Well, one thing about it is talking to some guys this week that run the A Open, they're like, I don't really need to set up for the long run because the officials don't usually have long runs. But here in the ISCA, this is one of the most cleanest series on this service. You're going to see green flag runs in this series, so you really need to prioritize long runs. So if you have been all week long running officials and prioritizing short runs, you're going to have a tough time in the ISCA.
Yeah, there's a tough time being had right now. As Jason Maines now makes it by Nick King. Nick King, though, is really having a pace problem. I think he wants to go faster, but I don't think he can right now. Randy Drumhiller's in front. I think Drumhiller's got a good pace, but I don't think he's going as fast as he wants to.
Well, Drumhiller into Tim Wortman Jr. out into the inside. That is a lap car. Randy Drumhiller was a lap down, unfortunately getting into him, and there is not going to be a caution. Green flag stays out.
There's Clayton Hoffman right down there in the bottom, right in the midst of it.
Man,
and Randy, needing to have a solid night. I mean, and he is just literally having a little bit of a fall apart here.
He really is, and he goes down to the apron. Looks like he might even have a black flag, maybe a meatball. Does he, Big Al? Because had to be some solid damage, front end damage. Look at that damage.
Yeah, actually, he does. He's a recipient of the dreaded repairs required flag, and that's not the first one he's had tonight, Brian, and I don't think it's going to be the last.
White flag is out, though, here at Bristol Motor Speedway for stage number 2. Patrick Gitter is out front by a second right now over Matt DeCiani. So right now it is a Team Conti 1-2. It looks like Patrick Gitter is going to be your stage 2 winner. Matt DeCiani finishes 2nd place. Dylan Banks in 3rd. Brian Johnson in 4th. Jason Maines in 5th. Mark Sanchez, good run for him. 6th place, Alexander Carr. 7th, Tim Wortman Jr. After being involved in that accident, still comes home in 8th in this stage. Kenny Powell 9th. Clayton Hoffman rounds out the top 10 stage finishers. We're going ahead and take a step away. We'll be right back, and we'll probably talk to our 21, depending on who Big Al wants to talk to, I should say.
You went, you served, and forged the relationships that only being baptized in the fire of combat can develop. At fallinveteran.com, we understand the unique bond that veterans share. That's why we've created a platform where you can connect, share experiences, and build lifelong friendships with fellow veterans. Signing up is easy. Simply visit www.fall-in-veteran.com and create your profile. Customize it to reflect your military service, interests, and hobbies. FallInVeteran.com is more than just an online community. It's a support network where you can find resources, advice, and encouragement from those who understand what you've been through. Whether you're looking for camaraderie, mentorship, or simply a place to share your stories, FallInVeteran.com has it all. Join thousands of veterans who have already found their tribe and start connecting today. FallInVeteran.com. Come join us and experience the power of community. Sign up now at www.fall-in-veteran.com.
Hello and good afternoon. My name is Randy Mullins, driver of the 54 Chevrolet for Paradigm Motorsports. As you can see, we're sponsoring the race tonight, so I'm going to give you a little insight on ISCA. People ask me all the time, why do you run that league? Well, I run it for a few reasons. The long green flag runs, the good respect level that's in there, along with their etiquette. Everyone drives clean and it's fun, but they also race very hard. That is something I've yet to find in any other league on the iRacing server, and you dang sure are not going to get those in the opens. So if you're not in it, come check us out.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the ISCA Super Cup Series. We just completed stage number 2. We're going to go ahead and grab up Kenny Powell. And Big Al is going to be standing by.
Kenny Powell, Big Al up in the booth. You got me?
I got you.
So, Kenny, how's it going out there tonight? I mean, this is a big racing event for a lot of folks. I do believe you as well. But it's looking a little hairy down there. You care to comment?
It's typical Bristol. Just trying to stay out of the incidents. Got in a little one right before that stage caution. But plan was to stay as close to the front as I could to avoid them, and done fairly decent with that.
Yeah, so you're thinking that it's going to be a lot clearer up front as opposed to being in the back of the pack?
Yeah, the goal is to, like I said, stay as close to the front as I can. I think it's less likely to be in something that way.
So track position being key. What about tire wear? Have your tires been a consistent problem, or are they just good?
They definitely wear. So you have to watch how much you race, how hard you race, where you race. Yeah, I'll definitely be taking care of them a little more in this run.
All right, boss. Well, 1 to green. We're going to wish you luck here with your playoff endeavors, man. We'll let you get back to it because we got to get back to racing.
Sounds good. Thanks.
Alrighty, that was Kenny Powell, driver of the 24 machine, and sounds like he got involved in that crash a little bit there towards the end of stage number 2, but it sounds like he got some of the damage fixed here. We do want to mention that Aiden Schultz has unfortunately been called in to work, so we're glad that he was able to join us for when he did, and it was really cool to have him up here in the booth for sure. But we actually had to get rid of him, Big Al, because there were too many Aussies in our broadcast.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we were off on the ratio right there, man. It's starting to smell like Vegemite up in here.
Here goes the base car, though. What's up, Big Al?
This is going to get interesting up front here because now, like Kenny Powell, he wanted to be up front. That was his strategy. Now he finds himself all the way back into 11th. Restarts are really tricky things here.
They are. Here we are. Green flag is out. Patrick Gitter up through the gears. He's got control here. But we're going to, if this goes green, we're going to have ourselves a long run to the end of this race. So whoever saves tires the best, I think, is going to be in really good position. But Patrick Gitter, he's really good at saving tires. So do not be surprised that he's able to keep this lead. Mark Sanchez, though, attacking the 83 of Tim Wortman Jr. We've got to remember, though, Wortman has probably some substantial damage after that contact with him and Randy Drumhiller. We see Greg Carr attacking right now Clayton Hoffman. That's a battle for ninth.
Yeah, man, it's going to be a lot of battling. I think most of that battling is going to be going on somewhere between, the top, right at 10th place towards the middle of the back of the pack. The one thing I think drivers need to do, though, is just kind of get into the rhythm and feel the racetrack mind. It's one of those tracks where I think you'll race a lot faster if you just race the track for a little while instead of just racing trying to pass.
I'll tell you who's looking like a really fast driver right now. Brian Johnson. He is up in second place, just passed by Dylan Banks pretty easily, I got to say. And this is the Paradigm 313. They've been sponsoring a handful of races this season, the Paradigm team. And a lot of times those Paradigm guys are the fastest on the tracks. They're so consistent. Brandon Patalacqua is out of the race, and I think Brian Johnson in a lot of ways says, "Hey, I'll carry the torch." Brian is a talented driver in his own right, very capable of winning these races. I think he might have something maybe for Gitter if he can catch up there to 21. And I think a lot of these guys, I'm looking at lap times, Big Al. One thing I'm noticing is no one is running as fast as they possibly can. I think that's by design.
Yeah, you definitely got to be a little bit more on the conservative side. But look at the difference in the line between Gitter and Johnson. Johnson definitely leaning way more on the side of what Aiden was saying of how you kind of roll through the middle of that thing where it's a little bit tougher to bend on the bottom. Now, Gitter's been getting it done all night, but I'm just saying it just for the people that are watching, it's awesome to see the different lines that the drivers are actually taking.
And one thing we got to keep in mind as well is Brian Johnson probably hunting for a little bit of cleaner air as well. He's even though this is Bristol, it's a short track, you still do have clean air. And look at there, challenge for the lead. Brian Johnson making a big charge to the high side, and I think he might have it done. I think he's got it.
Does Gitter let him go though? That's the question.
If I was in Gitter's shoes, I would go ahead and let him go because I feel like I'm saving tires. I think that's exactly what Gitter has in mind. He's like, if you want to go and burn your tires up prematurely, you go for it. I'm going to hang out. I'm going to be conservative, and I'll catch you in about 15 laps. I think that's probably what is going through the mind of the 21 right now. Because, if you look at the lap times all throughout this field, you're not seeing anyone going as fast as Brian Johnson. Most of the drivers out here are kind of taking a little bit easier. They realize that this is going to take a long run if we stay green. We also got to keep in mind that a lot of the competition has gotten killed in a wreck. There's not a whole lot of drivers on the lead lap right now. 13 drivers are on the lead lap. We started this race with 32.
Yeah, it's nothing to win right now to go out there. You're not going anywhere per se, so the best thing you could do is just really to kind of take it easy, save your tires, conserve your equipment, and stay clean so that way you will be able to go for it, say, once we get down to 20 to go.
Yeah, some drivers are probably not thinking that same thing. Some drivers are like, hey, I got to go. It's go time. Got to get to the front. I think one driver, that is Kenny Powell. He even talked about him really wanting to work his way forward. He's doing exactly that. He's in 9th place right now, just passed by Alexander Carr. I don't think he's wasting any time. He's the only driver hitting a sub 15-second lap right now, and I think that's because he's like, I got to get to the front. I got to go. I got to win this race. If I don't, I'm out of the playoffs.
Well,
I think Alexander Carr's in the same boat, too.
Yeah, and I think one of the things that Kenny's also saying is I need to get up front because the quicker I get up front, and I'm racing with guys like, Maines, Hoffman, DeCiani, you're a little bit safer up there.
Yeah, definitely can be, for sure. But, one thing he might pay the price in is hurting those tires. And we even heard Kenny in the interview. He said that, my tires were a little bit screaming at me during stage number 2. I need to be better. I need to conserve better. I don't see that happening right now. That's one thing about racers, man. Racers will tell you that they need to do one thing, and then you'll see them racing and they won't do anything like that. Racers will race. They're not going to. They don't have that switch to flip to go to conservative mode.
Yeah, absolutely. But look at my man Jason Maines. He's actually holding his own here, Brian. He has been in the top 10 for the majority of the night, now running in the top 5. He's definitely showing that he has the prowess and the speed. So, way to go, Jason. Good to have you, man.
Yeah, no, the 45 looking good. I tell you who's also looking good, who's back up to his, I think, stellar performing ways is Clayton Hoffman. I mean, look at the 92, back in the top 5 right now, banging on the back door of 4th. I mean, he's right there with Jason Maines. I mean, the 92 has been involved in a lot of mess here today, but this just shows you that Bristol is a track that you can rebound, you can recover if you hold your mouth right, as you would say.
Yeah, definitely going to say he has been through a lot of tremendous adversity tonight just to be where he's at. So not taking that for granted at all. Greg Watkins also back out there trying to get back. I think Greg is a couple of laps down, but maybe 22.
Yeah, he's 22 laps down exactly. I think he's just trying to finish this race.
But good on him. Good to be out there.
Battle for the lead though. Once again, Brian Johnson, once again getting, I should say, Patrick Gitter once again in the lead. And I think that Brian kind of pushed a little too hard, maybe, or has Patrick re-engaged. Patrick Gitter was running like 15-second laps. Now he's running like 14.5. Something has changed. I do believe that they were saving on the first 10 laps, but I think everybody has kind of turned it up a notch and said, "Hey, it's time to start racing."
Well, Greg Carr is definitely, Alexander Carr, he is kind of, I was right. Greg Carr is actually kind of keeping it steadfast with the wheel. Randy Gumhill comes down pit road yet again. But we got some racing going on there around, I'm going to say from DeCiani on back.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of racing going on, I'd say, in the top 10. I mean, you see Tim Wardman fighting with Jason Maines. You see Clayton Hoffman not too far back. I mean, Kenny Powell as well. I mean, there's a pretty good collection of cars. I mean, you see Jeffrey Souza, Alexander Carr. That's back in that, I do believe, 11th and 12th position. Dave Fuge Jr., first race, I do believe, in the ISCA. Haven't really seen him in this series. Seen him in the Spartan series. Of course, he's known in that series. He's in 8th right now. Got to give him some credit. Under the 13 earlier in this race, Big Al. I hope he doesn't take offense to this, but he did not look good earlier in this race. The 13 looked terrible, but now he's running into top 10, looking good.
That's awesome. I'm sure he's going to appreciate that because a lot of times, you'll come down on a driver and you'll never circle back, so people are thinking this guy's just, a Buttafuoco, but he's actually a good guy. So I appreciate you actually acknowledging that.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think Dave is a talented driver. I've seen him in the Spartan Series run fairly well, and so I don't think that he's a terrible driver. But one thing we got to keep in mind is that Spartan Series is a 60% fuel series, and that's something, Big Al, that the ISCA has had history of having. That we used to have that same thing, and a lot of times that changes the handling of the race car. So jumping from that sort of a series to this could be a little bit of a could be a little bit of a hard translation or transition.
Yeah, definitely. Every little thing like that matters. The way that the car matters, the fuel that's in the car matters. Just even having to calculate, it's still a lot different even when you're running 100%, because how much gas do you put in right now if you were to actually stop? Because gas isn't even an issue for us right now. I don't think it's been an issue all night.
It's not going to be. I mean, gas is not going to be something we're really going to need to be concerned about unless we just stay green the entire last stage. I think then it might be an issue, but I don't think it's going to be. I think we're going to see some sort of late race caution at some point. But, you are seeing that long run's mattering right now.
You did it again.
I mean, 145 laps is the fuel window. Of course, we went green, I do believe, about a 150. So I think we could possibly be a little short unless they save just a little bit. But I think that even if they did have a caution right now, I'm of the mind I'm putting as much gas in it as I can, Big Al. Not for making it to the end of the race, for the sake of handling. I want that car to be fueled up so it handles like I want it to. I want it to, because the thing is having less fuel in it causes the car to tighten up.
Yeah, because I know how the car handles with a full bag of gas, and I think you want to be in as comfortable as a condition as you can, because that's going to make it more favorable. Laps keep ticking down. 127 laps to go in this thing. Lap 188 of 313.
do a quick rundown of the field as it stands. Patrick Gitter is at the top of the board. He is the leader. He's led, I do believe, the most laps here tonight. Brian Johnson sits in second place. Jason Maines, he's in third. Tim Wortman Jr. holds that fourth place position. Clayton Hoffman, he's had an up and down day. He's in fifth. Kenny Powell, he's running in sixth. Mark Sanchez in seventh. Dave Fuge Jr. in eighth place. Dylan Banks, who started up front, has led a lot of laps here tonight as well. He's in ninth. And Matt DeCiani, last week's winner, he's in 10th. With that, we're going to take a step away. We're going to go ahead and pay some attention to our sponsors, and we'll be right back as we watch the last 100 or so laps to go.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
You served and forged the relationships that only being baptized in the fire of combat can develop. At FallInVeteran.com, we understand the unique bond that veterans share. That's why we've created a platform where you can connect, share experiences, and build lifelong friendships with fellow veterans. Signing up is easy. Simply visit www.fall-in-veteran.com and create your profile. Customize it to reflect your military service, interests, and hobbies. FallInVeteran.com is more than just an online community. It's a support network where you can find resources, advice, and encouragement from those who understand what you've been through. Whether you're looking for camaraderie, mentorship, or simply a place to share your stories, FallInVeteran.com has it all. Join thousands of veterans who have already found their tribe and start connecting today. FallInVeteran.com. Come join us and experience the power of community. Sign up now at www.fall-in-veteran.com.
Hello and good afternoon. My name is Randy Mullins, driver of the 54 Chevrolet for Paradigm Motorsports. As you can see, we're sponsoring the race tonight, so I'm going to give you a little insight on ISCA. People ask me all the time, why do you run that league? Well, I run it for a few reasons. The long green flag runs, the good respect level that's in there, along with their etiquette. Everyone drives clean and it's fun, but they also race very hard. That is something I've yet to find in any other league on the iRacing server, and you dang sure are not going to get those in the opens. So if you're not in it, come check us out.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the ISCA Super Cup Series. Of course, we are continuing this race here at Bristol Motor Speedway. We're now 200 laps into this race, 3 wide.
Caution.
It looks like we got the 34. No caution is out yet.
18 sideways.
And it looks like Jay Holmes on pit road, but it looks like I think we had Alexander Carr struggling a little bit. The thing is, Big Al, one thing we haven't mentioned, we're now 50-something laps into this run, almost 60 now.
60, yeah.
And, yeah, this is struggle bus time. These guys are starting to really struggle. We also got Patrick Gitter starting to catch lap traffic.
Yep, and all of these things combined are going to make this really, really sporty, or should I say squirrely, to the end of this thing, Brian, because right now we're getting into that time of the night, where this is where the accidents are going to be prone to happen. Drivers are getting a little bit tired. The tires are more tired. The drivers are getting more tired. The tires are actually kind of starting to wear out a little bit, where the car handling is going to be suspect. So you got wall tags and misconceptions coming up.
Yeah, there's a lot of handling woes happening. A lot of guys are starting to feel really, really tight. Some guys are starting to get a little bit loose. Kenny Powell making the pass on Tim Wortman Jr., moving up to the top 5. We know Wortman's one that's struggling really bad. I'm seeing guys that are falling off over a second, and a second at Bristol is huge. You don't want to fall off that much at a track like this, considering the lap times are roughly 15 seconds. But looking at looks like Mark Sanchez also trying to make something happen. Patrick Gitter, he's got about a second gap right now on Brian Johnson. It looks like lap traffic could change that very quickly. We've seen that in past races in NASCAR at tracks like Bristol, where the leader encounters lap traffic, and all of a sudden he's got second place bearing down on him just because of that lap traffic.
Yeah, it will definitely close that gap, and it'll make it a little bit tighter for Gitter with the guys behind him, but still. Where they're at on tires right now, I don't think anybody's going to have a clear advantage.
Yeah, I mean, you're just going to have to try to you have to have a setup that is good on old tires, that can really, move anywhere you need to move without it being too crazy handling wise. And there goes Kenny Powell getting loose. He loses a couple spots as a result. Kenny Powell just got really loose. Trying to get by Nick King. And that's one of the things that's so difficult is when you're trying to get by a lap car. Nick King's a lap car, and Powell was struggling to get by him and unfortunately got loose because of it.
Well, this isn't the time of the race where you can just kind of, you don't have that laser precision that you usually would. So every little movement, every little nugget, all of that. Plus, the track has got marbles on it now. There's so much dirt and debris on this track now because we've been running for a while.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, when you have 30 cars driving on this racetrack for a lot of laps, I mean, it can cause the track to change, the handling to change. As, of course, we also got some drivers with new tires on the racetrack. Jay Hone, he pitted for tires. So that's going to change a lot of the handling of the track, and we got new tires versus old tires. It can a lot of times be very unpredictable.
What's the question is? I mean, what are you doing? Are you running the rest of this thing? You toughing it out, or are you going to stay into the seat until you can't anymore? Or you just saying screw it and coming down pit road?
No, I would probably stay out as long as I can. I was out here on the racetrack, I would be just turning laps until I can't turn laps anymore. And because I mean, if you green flag stop, you even said it, Big Al. If you do a green flag pit stop here and a caution comes out, good luck. You're going to have a tough time getting them laps back.
Yeah, so you're really stuck in the seat. I mean, you're kind of being held captive at this point in the race because you can't go down pit road to get an ice cream cone.
You can't. You definitely will. You'll find yourself multiple laps down. I mean, the lap times around this place are 15 seconds. So you see Nick King coming down pit road. Of course, he's a lap down. This is going to put him more lap downs.
If he doesn't hang it up.
And also, we got to keep in mind, this ain't just one pit lane. This is like 2 pit lanes in one. You have to go down both pit lanes at 35 mile an hour. So you're guaranteed to lose multiple laps here by coming down pit road. And you, of course, can see some battling going on the racetrack. You see Matt DeCiani, who has just hit he's almost hit another gear. DeCiani looking like he's got a fast race car underneath him. And this is not a surprise. I mean, you see Patrick Gitter, who has led the most laps here tonight. Well, Matt DeCiani's probably running a very similar setup. That same thing that Patrick's probably running. So I'm not surprised to see some speed showing up here in the one machine. It seems like these Team Conti guys always show up prepared. One driver, though, Big Al, I'm shocked is not here tonight. Derek Heitman. Derek Heitman is absolutely in a bad position when it comes to points. I just thought about that. Like, I wonder why he didn't show up tonight. He's out of the playoffs because he didn't show up here tonight.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, I think those decisions might have been made prior to tonight. Sometimes you just have, competing requirements, and at the end of the day, this is, it's hard to justify this in real life because you're running in the playoffs via ISCA.
Yeah.
I mean,
being honest, real life comes first, family comes first, real life obligations. I mean, you hate to say that. You want to not have things get in the way of your iRacing, career, but that's the thing. Those things are more important. Those things are, greater priority for sure. Patrick Gitter He's in command right now. 2.7 seconds on Brian Johnson. He seems like he's got the best long run car at the moment. Matt DeCiani, though, he is working his way forward up to now 4th place. He's caught up quickly to Jason Maines.
Yeah, the one thing I'm going to go ahead and say, I do believe, the conflict that we've had earlier on in this competition has probably made it a little bit safer to be on the track right now. I mean, we've sent some serious cars behind the wall. We got cars on different laps. I mean, it really did kind of sort itself out.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's as dangerous to be on this racetrack because you don't have 30 cars all trying to go for, real estate. A lot of these guys have given up, and that's unfortunate, but it also is fortunate for the guys that have survived. And that's what I was talking about earlier. Like, if you just run all the laps, if you just survive this race, you're going to get points. And that's exactly what we're seeing right now. 11 cars on the lead lap, 11 cars that are still in this thing. Caution comes out, that kind of reshuffles the deck again, and that helps them out in a lot of ways. But just being alive at this point of this race gives you a really good finish. I mean, to finish in the top 10 in the ISCA is something that is incredibly difficult to do. A lot of times when we see guys that don't usually run well finish in the top 10, we're like, man, look at that, that's impressive, because the ISCA is such a competitive series, and this is one of those races where you are benefited just by surviving. Just run laps, be alive, be available, as I think you always say about being available.
You got to be available at the end of this thing.
And this one, I think this race right here probably in a lot of ways is more like that than any. You have to be available. John Bender coming off the pit road, I do believe he just took a green flag stop. That puts 10 cars on the lead lap.
We also got the 13 of David Fuge. He was going down pit road.
Yeah, so it looks like we've had some guys assigned to pump down pit road, grab a fresh set of tires. They're rolling the dice a little bit here.
Yeah, looks like green flag pit stops are underway.
Wortman Jr., he's coming to pit road here. I think Tim Wortman, this is out of desperation. Wortman was falling off a cliff when it comes to his lap times. I mean, 16-second laps. He's struggling, and I think this is something he had to do just because the car was I wouldn't even be shocked if the car was saying, hey, your tires are getting ready to blow.
Wasn't he the one that was chasing Gitter?
He was for a long time earlier in the race, that's for sure.
Yeah, that's what happens right there. Don't chase Gitter. He'll lure you in, man, and you're thinking, I'm catching him, but he's just burning your tires off and you don't even feel it.
And I think everybody in here is struggling right now. I think it's just who's struggling the best in a lot of ways. As we see Patrick Gitter trying to work his straight through lap traffic. Oh, Souza into the outside wall, and he is side by side right now with our leader. And unfortunately, this is more drivers going a lap down. Jeffrey Souza now has gone a lap down, as we see Patrick Gitter now chasing down or trying to chase down Mark Sanchez as well as Kenny Powell. That'll put only 5 drivers on the lead lap if he catches up to Sanchez and Powell.
Well, it's going to happen, and it's going to happen sooner than later, and you're going to watch it happen. Because here we are, Sanchez. I mean, what do? The leader catches you like I always say. He didn't catch you because you're cute. He caught you because he's faster than you.
Yeah, 100%. Kenny Powell, unfortunately, going to be going a lap down, and I don't think he definitely doesn't want to go a lap down.
Who does? I mean, you're literally taking ticks off of Kenny's life right now.
Kenny needs to win this race, and unfortunately, him being put a lap down is not going to help that in the slightest. Now, of course, he is the lucky dog, and it will be a little bit of time before, of course, Kenny, I do believe Clayton. Well, no, here comes Clayton. Clayton coming to pit road. Clayton green flag stop. That's Clayton Hoffman coming to pit road. So it does appear that some drivers are not going to try to go the long haul. I think Patrick is. I think Patrick Gitter is going to probably stay out as long as he can because he's doing good on the long run. That car does not seem to be really struggling that much on the long run. Well, never mind. I'm wrong. Here comes Patrick Gitter to pit road.
I guess everybody. Okay. So, if we roll the tape back, the one thing that you said, I think, and I might have even, I know I agreed with you. You know, we're
No,
not going to
100%.
see green. You don't see green flag pit stops at Bristol.
Not at Bristol, but we're seeing them. Green flag stops at Bristol Motor Speedway.
I would not have
But
believed
the thing is who? I mean, if a caution comes out right now, Patrick Gitter is in a bad position. Brian Johnson in a great position if a caution comes out right now.
And don't forget, you got guys of varying, pit strategy. So there's guys out there with clean tires racing with guys with bad tires, and yeah, it's just all kinds of bad this second.
I mean, a caution could come out very quickly. Kenny Powell to pit road, yep.
And this is a complicated pit track to pit at. Also, you don't just get to roll down the pit road and everything be okay. It takes a little bit of work as well.
Very easy to get a penalty at this racetrack, that's for sure too. Easy to go down the wrong. Both sides of this racetrack look very similar, and it's very easy to go down the wrong pit road.
You have to go all the way around. But under green flag conditions, the back road doesn't have to. When exiting, they can actually go right out of the side chute.
I don't know. I mean, I think that you have to use both, no matter what. I'm pretty sure, because you get a penalty, you'll have to do a green flag stop if you don't go through both. From what I recall of the officials,
when you're pitting, you have to come around the whole loop. But under green flag pitting, you come around the whole loop. But once you're exiting, you don't have to go around the whole loop. You can go right out at the side chute.
But here we go. Brian Johnson in the lead. Now only, I do believe, 3 drivers remaining on the lead lap. That is Brian Johnson, Jason Maines, and Alexander Carr. Of course, Alexander Carr, he needs a caution to happen right now. But here comes Carr actually to pit road. Because that would have been perfect for Alexander Carr. If a caution that came out right there, he would have been one of the only drivers on the lead lap. Well, I'm just
really wanting a caution.
I'm wanting to give these guys a chance, like Alexander Carr. I mean, an underdog to come in and win a race and get a playoff, ticket to the playoffs. I mean, who wouldn't want to see that?
Throw the caution.
I can't throw it. You're the one that's good at throwing them, Big Al. You're the one that does that.
You throw one inadvertent caution, and they just blame you for life.
They never let that go. Like. They took my man's authority to throw cautions because of that.
Shoot one little baby in the face, and everybody makes a big deal about it. Kenny's getting canceled for that remark.
Oh no!
Big Al said they didn't shot the baby in the face. 19 car into the wall. He's not handling well.
That's Jay Hone. Of course, he had a pit stop earlier. You can see Matt DeCiani trying to get around him right now. So, no, I mean, no one's out of the woods yet. Anything could go wrong at any moment. Here's we're on lap, I do believe, 160. Coming to 160 here for Brian Johnson. It's Johnson and Jason Maines. These are the only two drivers that are out here on these tires. And I got a feeling. I feel like Brian is going to stay out. I think he's going to stay out as long as he can.
Jason Maines might as well. I mean, Jason Maines is from the old school, so who says that he doesn't stay out?
You see, there goes Patrick Gitter. He unlaps himself. Patrick Gitter now only 1 lap down. So this is the thing. Patrick is quite a bit faster than Brian. Can he unlap himself and actually catch him and actually grab the lead back?
And so here's the problem. Here's the problem that you're going to run into. Now that Gitter's on fresh tires, you stay on bad tires, he's just going to get a bigger gap on you. So I think once he pits, you are obligated to come down, because the only way you're going to try to keep him in your sights is if you stay in the same pit cycle with him.
Well, I think Brian, in a lot of ways, is just kind of he's in this. He's trapped in a sense. He's waited too long to where now I think he's kind of he has to stay out and just try to stay out as long as he can here. And hope that maybe some sort of caution will come out. Because, I think eventually Patrick Gitter, he is about a second faster than Brian Johnson. And so within 15 laps, Patrick Gitter's probably going to catch Brian Johnson and put himself back on the lead lap. And then it takes about another 15 laps for him to catch up and possibly actually take the lead from him. So, there is a little bit of time that Brian Johnson has until we see Patrick actually close in and possibly take the lead. And in that time, Brian's probably got his fingers crossed open for a caution. He wants to keep Patrick a lap down, but I don't know if that's going to be the case. I think eventually Patrick Gitter is probably going to get back up here and possibly take this lead back.
Randy Mullins.
What about Randy Mullins? He's 15 laps down.
Well, I was just had to mention his name tonight for the broadcast, just so Randy knows, that we're giving him a little shout out there.
Oh, okay.
So he was.
Yeah, Randy was
mentioned in the broadcast,
And Randy was one of the fastest guys in practice. I don't know exactly what went wrong with Randy's race.
Guy.
I don't know if he missed the start because he just. I know in the beginning of the race we just saw he was multiple laps down, and I'm like, what happened to him? He wasn't even. I don't even think he was involved in a crash. Unfortunately, just hasn't been going well for him. Another Paradigm driver hasn't been going well for Josh Schaffner. He's in 15th, though. It could be a lot worse. He could be, outside of the top 15, such as Pasalacqua. The 6 machine. Who would have thunk it? You usually think about Brandon Pasalacqua. This guy gets top 5s like it's just normal. He wakes up and gets a top 5. That's just what he does. He just wakes up and he's got a top 5. But Pasalacqua, he had a DNF today. That's just not normal for him.
Yeah, but he does also have 2 wins in just this one single round of the playoffs.
I definitely like what I'm seeing from a lot of these other drivers, though. You can see that they're taking advantage of, of the issues that other drivers are having. As you see Jeffrey Souza. Souza is not having a good time. He just hit the wall pretty hard. Do believe he's going to be coming to pit road.
Do believe you're right. As the 96 brings her on down pit road. Not sure if this is going to be one of those. Is this a park, or is this a
I don't know.
Get damage fix and roll on? 40
I think this is a park. I think Souza has been through the ringer.
I hate to see that Mustang leaving the track like that.
Yeah, I think we all do. I got to say, there is still a chance that Brian Johnson can win this race. Looking at he's still in the lead. He's still running about the same laps he's been running. And one thing we got to keep in mind, Patrick Gitter is getting slower as the clock ticks down. He's getting closer and closer to what Brian is running. He's not running a second faster than him anymore. He's running about a half a second to 0.6 faster, which is not as much. That makes it a little bit more likely that Brian could hold on to this lead here.
Or if there were a late race caution, that would kind of change things up for everybody with the exception of Gitter, because Gitter has actually unlapped himself.
Not quite. He's getting closer. He has not unlapped himself yet. He's getting there. He's really close.
He would get the drive through.
He would get the lucky dog. Yeah. You can see right there. We're looking at the off the roof camera right now of Patrick Gitter, and you can see the 4 of Brian Johnson's right there. Clearly, Patrick is getting ready to unlap himself as we speak. It's just he has to go all the way back around again to take the lead. Can he do that in 30 laps? That's what he's got to do.
And he's going to be hoping that he might be looking for a caution. But I guarantee you, Mr. Johnson is not wanting a caution at this point.
Yeah, probably not. He wants to be. Brian hasn't been in victory lane in quite some time, and I think he really wants to get there.
Yeah,
of course, who doesn't?
And Gitter's got to make it all the way back around, but it's going to be a challenging feat, because it'd be one thing if he just had to drive around, but he's got to drive around and he's got to contend with the traffic the entire way around, and we're literally spread out on this racetrack right now.
That's a good point. There's a lot of people that he's got to try to pass that aren't going to want to get past. That's one thing, and a lot of these guys are not handling very well. All it takes is one little mistake from one of these lap cars that causes some issue from Patrick Gitter. I think on paper, Patrick has the speed to possibly catch Brian Johnson. But it's still a big question mark. A lot can go wrong. He catches the wrong car at the wrong time. As there are only now 3 drivers that remain on the lead lap at the moment. and that's Brian Johnson, Jason Maines, and Patrick Gitter. Jason Maines having a really good night right now. He's possibly set to have a third-place finish or a second-place finish.
Jason Maines doing big boy stuff here tonight, man. And maybe not got favorable marks, from you in the past, but
Me? Me? Okay, Big Al, we will go with that story.
Everybody's got to have a story, Brian.
But I mean, this is probably his best race we've seen.
Yeah, dang good race
from him. He's been in the top 10 all night long almost.
Look, I love when we get to see strategies unfold. So to Brian Johnson, Jason Maines, and Patrick Gitter, well, no, to Brian and Jason, because those are the only two right now.
They're the only ones that are still on the same tires. They're still on the same old tires they've been going. I mean, I got to see what the stint is.
145.
They're on 145 lap old tires.
And with 25
insane
to go.
When you really think about it. That's insane when you think about it.
And 20 laps to go is go time at Bristol.
Yeah,
So
I don't think these guys have
involved.
go time. I don't think that's a thing that they can do.
Well,
Big
I'm
Al.
not saying for them. I'm saying that for the guys behind them, that is when you're going to really start to feel the panic and realize if you don't close the gap, you're just going to end up where you're at. And if you want a chance to win this thing at 20 laps to go, I think would be the time that you would actually start making your moves. 3 wide right here at the line between Schaffner, Sanchez, and Powell. I love that, man. We've been 3 wide here tonight like 7, 8 times.
Yeah, these guys are definitely up to the challenge of taking it wherever they want. And I don't even know how many cautions we've had tonight, to be honest. I haven't been counting.
We've had,
is it 5?
Yeah, well, mine went backwards, but yeah, it was 5 cautions for 36 laps at what I'd shown. No, they said 7 for 36.
7, but that's
right,
minus 2.
Yep.
Minus 2, so 5. You said 5, Big Al. So right now you're in the money. You're getting the meat trade.
No way. Oh, Sousa back on the racetrack with fresh rubbers, and he is definitely making it shine right there as he kind of split the needle between Clayton Hoffman and I didn't see the other car.
Yeah, I don't know. You see Matt DeCiani, though, passing Clayton. That might have been Matt DeCiani. That's probably who you saw. Because Matt's in the midst of a battle with Clayton. And, of course, Matt has taken that position now up to the 4th place position. Still only 3 drivers on the lead lap. Patrick Gitter. I don't know. I think Patrick's going to run out of time. What are you guys thinking? I mean, look at this traffic. Look at this traffic he's got to get through.
He has a lot of traffic to get through, Brian, and a lot of track to make up.
Oh!
And this is where, like I said, because this is go time for a lot of drivers, the desperation is oozing out of the Goodyears right now. So, the drivers are going to let it hang out just a little bit. So I don't think it's going to be as easy. Because some of these guys are making their last laps, man, as a playoff contender.
Yeah, I mean, such as drivers like Alexander Carr, I don't think he's going on to the next round, even though he had a really good run today. I mean, ran up in the top 10. Kenny Powell, I think Kenny, this might be his last race as a playoff driver this year. Anything can still change. I mean, you see Patrick Gitter catching up to Jason Maines, trying to take over 2nd place, racing very close right here. Jason does not want to give this position up, even though, Patrick is on 100-lap newer tires and still is having a tough time passing him.
Well, Jason has every right to race. I mean, that's the whole thing. Like I said, Tennessee is a right-to-race state. There's nothing saying that he's got to let Gitter go by.
Man. And this is crazy, though, that they're having there they go! And Patrick Gitter gets turned into the outside wall. And Dave Hughes hits him.
There it
is.
I'll tell you what, I can't wait to see how this one unfolds.
Oh, my. Patrick Gitter, who led the majority of this race, gets taken out. And let's take a look at this once again. You see Patrick Jason came down a little bit there into the right rear of Patrick Gitter. Just desperate. Both of these drivers. I mean, you got to think Jason Maines is on 145 lap old tires or 155 lap old tires versus the guy that's got 50 laps on his tires. I mean,
Gonna be a late
shocking
night
that
tonight.
Jason was able to hold him off. I mean, to be honest.
He didn't.
Yeah. Well, I'm saying for a minute there he was holding him off. Man, I don't even want to. We definitely should not pull up Patrick Gitter, because if we did that right now, I guarantee you we would probably hear some expletives. I mean, this guy had a good chance of winning this race. And look at the damage. Dave Fuge Jr. just smashes into the 21. Ryan Johnson, though, going to be coming down pit road to take a fresh set of tires.
Jason Maines. Should be coming down.
This is going to put a lot of drivers back on the lead lap because the leader just came to pit road.
Oh no, we're just getting into shootout contenders now.
And what a event. We just went. I don't think anybody realizes how we just went 150 something lap green.
We gotta send a meat tray to freaking Australia, bro.
And Aiden ain't even here to accept it. We're at 6 right now.
I've got the meat in the fridge. You know, it's already been pulled from the deli a couple months ago. I think it'll ship great.
Man, I hate to see the preservatives that are in that.
Oh, none.
Oh, it's going to smell great.
It's going to Australia, dude. I'm just kidding. Look, I love Australia. Aussie, because I'm going to have a whole freaking continent of freaking Kiwis.
They're all showing up at your house.
Yeah. Lord, they're bringing enough people over here. Probably that's next, right?
They're going to be setting kangaroos loose in your house.
Yeah, it's like a deer that jumps.
A deer that jumps. That's a good description. But thank you, everybody, for joining us here tonight for the race here, the Paradigm 313 here at Bristol Motor Speedway. This is the cutoff race, and in a lot of ways, this is some drivers' last chance. This is the last chance for a lot of these drivers to get into the next round of the playoffs. We just saw a caution after a 150-something lap run, green flag. And you don't see that a lot at a track like Bristol, I'll tell you that. But it happened here in the ISCA, but now we're just going to get to see a good old-fashioned shootout here for the race win. And Brian Johnson's on fresh tires. Jason Maines on fresh tires. I'm wondering if how these guys are going to do on these fresh tires. Because, I mean, you got to think of how old their tires were.
Watkins not. He's on 63 lap old tires. Green flag's out.
Green flag is out.
Sanchez not getting a start at all, or just moving the position, which is going to further impact the 21 of Gitter.
But Brian Johnson, he's gone. He just started driving away. He's got already a second lead. I think this is going to be a no contest unless we see another caution. As we're now coming up to, I do believe, 4 laps to go. Matt DeCiani, though, seeing if he could possibly chase down Jason Maines. He's got about 2 seconds in between him and Maines. Clayton Hoffman, about 2 seconds in between DeCiani. So, really, all the top 4, the only drivers that are on the lead lap, are all separated by multiple seconds.
Yeah, I think Clayton is definitely feeling the pressure right now as well. I mean, Kenny Powell for his life now in the top 5, Brian.
Trying to get, and if Clayton, if a caution comes out right now, he's back on the lead lap. Alexander Carr fighting for his life as well. I'm saying they're fighting. This is the first Carr lap down. They are fighting for that right now.
Kenny's the lap down, yeah.
Alexander Carr. White flag is out. Brian Johnson.
That means we made it.
But Brian's getting caught by Jason Maines. And it looks like it's going to be Brian Johnson just barely. I wonder why Brian slowed down so much there towards the end.
I
We'll
don't
have to
think he
definitely
did.
ask him about that.
I think Maine's just definitely picked up speed, man.
Brian's
Definitely
last
put
lap,
on
Big
his show
Al,
here
was a
tonight.
16.3. Brian's last lap was a 16.3. That is a very slow lap. That something went wrong with Brian. I don't know exactly why he slowed down, but we're going to get a chance to ask him. Brian Johnson, your winner here tonight at Bristol Motor Speedway. The Paradigm 313 is won by a Paradigm driver. You can't make this stuff up, ladies and gentlemen. As here comes Brian. He's going to do a little bit of a burnout to celebrate this victory. Let's see what the rating's going to be here tonight, Big Al, for the burnout.
Well, he's
He
got
hit
a
the wall.
burnout. He's got a burnout with a little bit of a story as well.
This is definitely he's got a lot of rubber to be burning them things down. I tell you, he's doing
I mean,
this
wouldn't you? I mean, seriously.
after surviving this race and winning. Oh yeah.
Winning at Bristol, yeah. Yeah, man, I'm going to go ahead and give that one a freaking 99, homie.
And it looks like Randy Mullins going to drive up and celebrate a little bit as well. Randy definitely going to be happy with his teammate for sure. But Brian Johnson, I'm giving him a 70 out of 100. I think that's a pretty good rating. Good burnout for Brian Johnson. Let's go down through the running order here. The final results, the unofficial results here at Bristol Motor Speedway. Brian Johnson, your winner, well-earned win as well after running 150-something laps on those tires. That's insane. Jason Maines, he finishes second. First podium, I do believe, in this series. Matt DeCiani finishes third. Clayton Hoffman finishes in fourth place. Alexander Carr in fifth. Very good position there for Alexander Carr. Don't think that's going to be good enough to get him into the next round, but still, what a good result. Kenny Powell finishes sixth. Tim Wortman Jr. in seventh. Patrick Gitter eighth. Mark Sanchez in ninth. And Jeffrey Souza rounds out the top 10.
Oh, boogity, that's going to put Greg Carr in 11th with John Bender coming home in 12th. Dave Fuchs Jr. rose his forward across in 13th with Nick King coming in after a very eventful night in 14th. Josh Schaffner probably watching his dreams melt away in 15th with Randy Mullins coming in 16th. Jay Hone coming in 17th with another eventful evening driver. Greg Wachinski coming in 18th. Paul Hill 19th, and Benjamin Stevens rounds out the top 20.
Dylan Banks, who spent a lot of time up front earlier in this race, finishes 21st. Randy Drumhiller in 22nd. Unfortunately, I think Drumhiller is going to be outside of the playoffs now looking in. 23rd, Abner Acosta, who started on the pole for this race and unfortunately finished 168 laps down. Paul Olson, 24th, so good result for Paul Olson. Jose Acosta, 25th. J.C. Evans, 26th. 27th, Paul Whitley. 28th, Kendall Levron. 29th, Jordan Sailors. 30th, Blair Holloman. 31st, Brandon Pasalacqua. 32nd, Derek Jacobs. That's a look top to bottom at this 32-car field. We'll take a step away, and we'll come back, and we'll talk to you our top three finishers.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the iRacing Stock Car Association Super Cup Series here at Bristol Motor Speedway. We just completed the round of 16. Now we move on to the round of 12 next week at Kansas Motor Speedway. We're going to go ahead and get into our interviews here. We're going to start with Matt DeCiani, driver of the One Machine. Matt, do you read me? All right, Matt. Last week you won at Watkins, Glen. You're able to follow it up with a third place here at Bristol. Are you happy with that result? Do you think you could have done better?
I mean, I'll take it. The top 5 is decent. kind of just didn't play strategy right. Brian did a good job. I think if we would have thought people would have ran that stage out, we would have definitely done something different. We fully anticipated a pit, but I think we might have pitted earlier. I saved too hard at the beginning of that run and ballooned my tires trying to come back up through there, so I kind of stalled out. Overall it was good. I don't even feel like I got to show what my car had tonight because I was saving tires every run, and I think I ended up hitting the fastest lap of the race there at the end. So kind of wish got unlucky with that yellow too, because I was a lap, maybe 2 laps from getting back on the lead lap, and I would have not had to get the lucky dog and start at the tail end or behind all the guys that pitted. And I think if I could have started up there, I might have had a shot at this win, but didn't work out. But overall, it was a solid day.
Well, how do you prepare for a track like Bristol? I mean, because there's a lot that can go wrong at this racetrack. I mean, even if most of the race goes right.
Well, preparing it and racing for it are 2 totally different things. Racing it, you gotta be really, really smart here. Just gotta understand what other guys around you are doing. It's really easy to burn the tires up. Just being smart, I think, during the race is key. I mean, I kept my car clean all day. I might have been the only one that didn't get an incident point in this race.
Wow.
Looking at the results right now. But, preparing for it, it kind of just depends. How do you want to set the car up? And we kind of set it up for long runs and hoping we'd get some long runs, and we did get it in the 3rd stage. And so, worked out fine, I guess.
All right, well, next week is going to be Kansas, and that's going to be the first round of the round of 12. Do you feel, the first race, I should say, do you feel like you guys are fairly confident in that round? Do you think you're going to try to win your way into the next round?
I might need a win to get into the next round. Unfortunately, I'll miss the Roval, because I'll be out of town for work. So I need to do really well these first 2 races, hopefully try to win one, because, who knows what's going to happen with points. But, Kansas is a great track for us. I feel like we'll be pretty strong there, and I forget what the second race is, Dega or something, so who knows what's going to happen to Dega. But, momentum's been strong. I think I got top 5s in all 3 races in round 1, so we'll just try to carry that forward.
That's unfortunately you're missing the Roval too, because that's one of your fortes is those short, those road course races that you usually find yourself up at the front at the end. So unfortunately you're going to be missing that for sure, though. But who can we give a shout out after your 3rd place finish, Matt?
Yeah, thanks for you guys for calling the race. Kenny for putting on the league. Team Conti, Martin PC, my teammates Pat. Paul was in here today too. Fortunately, what happened to Pat, but just racing. But thanks guys.
All right, that was Matt DeCiani, driver of the One Machine, who finished 3rd here tonight. Next up, Big Al is standing by with Jason Maines, driver of the 45.
Jason Maines, big up on the booth. You got me.
Sir, Big Al.
Well, congratulations to you, sir, for a totally solid run here tonight. Started this thing all the way back in the pack at 30th and brought it home for a solid P2. How you feeling about that?
I felt great about it. I mean, I don't do a lot of time with my work schedule right now to do testing and stuff, so I typically just use the first stage of the practice, move around and see if I can make my laptops better. I probably tweaked the car a little bit before the race, and just about start back there. Those guys are running for points. I really don't want to get up there and mess them up, but eventually you have to go. So I'd save tires like Matt. I'd save tires the first run, like really, really hard. And then when the caution came out, I guess it was like 15 to go or something before the stage, I pitted and creeped to keep tires on it. And I almost screwed up and came out of the pit road it went too slow and almost got lapped, but that allowed me to swap the track position and I felt comfortable with the car. So Yeah, long run speed is, that's just more my style. And other than that, I think the racing was fabulous. It's a great league. I have more fun in this league than ever before. It's just a lot of respect. I mean, wrecks happen. There's a lot of respect. Like with Peter and I, at the end, it's just racing. I know he was racing hard. I'm racing hard, but I just hated that he got wrecked there. But it was good racing.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you were doing everything you could to kind of stay up front tonight. How much help did you have setting up? Because are you running as a part of a team, or are you kind of a freelancer?
Nah, I'm a freelancer, and I'm still learning. This when I had the time, I guess it was Pocono was the first set. I really, really put a lot of time in, and I feel like we had a car to win there. We went to the front multiple times, but it was great racing. It was an incident, and it was racing. I think it was Brian, I, and Derek. It was just racing, but I put like 1,500 laps in there. So that really taught me a lot on what each change does to the car and how many things it changes when the big one change. So it makes it a little bit more fun, So that's why I did.
Well, I'll tell you what, man, solid performance here tonight, and hopefully it's indicative of your future here in the league. Hope to see you, heck, in the winner's circle. I mean, that's a relatively quick run to actually come out here with these Giants and actually put one on the podium. So congrats to you for that. Speaks volumes about yourself. Next week, I think we're heading to Kansas. What are you feeling about that track? And how much time do you think it would be? How many laps would be adequate for you to call that a good training session?
I really don't know. I know the build changed. I tweaked on some stuff, right? I guess the last time they were here, but I haven't done a lot of racing. I had a car accident and it kind of messed me up. So I like Kansas. It's multi-grooves. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. But I don't know when I'll actually get any time to actually get on the sim to test. So, biggest thing about it, like I said, is I don't need to win to have fun. And the racing in here is so good and it's clean that in the end, if I win, I win. If I don't, I don't. I'd rather be a gracious second place finisher all day long than a toxic winner. And that's part of the mentality that I try to go with. I'm not perfect. I could wreck somebody next week, but that's my mentality. So those guys, everybody in here is a lot of fast. I mean, all these people in here are fast. I mean, they really are. So to run with them and have the respect from them as well means a lot to me.
Well, definitely, buddy. You came in like a wrecking ball. Congratulations again for your second place finish. Good luck to you in the future. Who you shouting out tonight for your second place finish?
Well, always shout out and thank our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. After that, I go with Lennox, Bradley Mechanical, MCU Body, Sim Seats. I really appreciate MC Body and Lennox sticking with my son Garrett and his racing stuff, and wish him the best of luck this weekend at Summit Point.
Roger that, boss. Congratulations again, and as I always say, don't party too hard.
Not a problem, brother. Y'all have a good evening. Great job again, Brian.
Alrighty, that was the 45 of Jason Maines, and I appreciate him telling me I did a great job. That's really nice of him. But I just played. He's actually talking to Brian Johnson, our next interviewee, I should say. Brian, driver of the 4 Machine. Do you read me?
Brian Britt, I got you.
Man, what a race for you here tonight. I'll tell you what, I got to say, you haven't been in victory lane in quite a while, I feel like. But now you're up here at Bristol. I mean, how much does this one mean to you? And to win the Paradigm 313 as well.
How about that? Yeah, we needed that one. We prepared pretty good for this race. We had a good piece, same setup that we used earlier in March. So we knew we were going to be fast. I just had a terrible qualifying effort there at the beginning, so I knew I had a hole to dig out of, but got caught up in a couple of incidents early. Had some damage, fixed it, and finally found my way up towards the top 5. So, shout out to Jason on a P2. He raced me clean all night. Same with Matt and Patrick. It was fun battling with those guys, but it was a blast. So yeah, we definitely needed this one, and it just so happens to be a Paradigm Motorsport sponsored race. So that's even better.
Yeah, it definitely couldn't have worked out better for you, for sure. Of course, it could have worked out better for some of your teammates. I mean, you see Brandon Pasalacqua, who, a DNF on his part usually is not something you see. You do not see a DNF for Brandon usually, but Bristol definitely seemed like it did not work out well for him. Josh Abner, of course, still finished the race, finished okay, but not as good as he could have. But you, of course, you carried, I think, the torch for Paradigm and were able to grab the victory here tonight. I do have to ask, that last lap, it seemed like you slowed down quite a bit, and Jason caught you at the start-finish line. What happened there, if you don't mind me asking?
I had a yellow flag that came up on my screen.
Really?
I did. Yep. It said caution was out. I checked up, and luckily Josh said go, 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 and I went. So, that's what happened.
We were I was like, did he run out of gas? Like, what's happening here? Like, you just slowed up all of a sudden. So that must have been an error on iRacing's part. So I'm glad you had a teammate saying, go, 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 for sure, because that would have been one that would have hurt to slip out of your hands right there.
Oh, bad. Yeah, it came up on my screen and said caution was out, and I knew I took the white flag, so I knew it was over. So I checked up, thinking I was going to take the checkered, but yeah. Not sure what happened there, but it worked out in the end.
It definitely did, man. What a race for you here, and your car just seemed phenomenal on the long run. I mean, you guys did 155, 160 laps on that run, which is something that you don't see in the official races pretty much at all. I mean, was the car handling good, or what did it feel like?
Oh yeah, it was well balanced. I was really shocked to see Patrick and those guys pit, because my car was handling so good, it was so balanced. I just kind of leveled out, and it just stayed there. So I was like, well, I'm going to play the strategy and just run it out and see what happens. And I kind of did the math in my head. I was like, well, I don't think I have enough time to catch me. And sure enough, I figured worst thing to happen was a caution comes out and bunches us back up. But most of the field was 2 laps down at that point, so I figured why not, and luckily it worked out.
Well, good win, man. It seemed like you would have had them covered either way, for sure. So awesome performance from you, Brian. Next week we're going to Kansas. How you feeling about Kansas?
I'm feeling pretty good. We usually do decent there at that 1.5 miles. Like Jason said, it's multi-groove, so we'll be able to move around. It's just a matter of doing some testing and figure out which lane to stick to at what time. And we'll celebrate this win tonight and this weekend, and we'll come back, hop in the sim, and do some testing on Monday.
All right. Well, congratulations. Who can we give a shout out after this big win here in the Paradigm 313?
Hey, huge shout out to Paradigm Motorsports for sponsoring this race. Shout out to Jason Maines. It was great racing with him, and congrats to him on a P2. Congrats to Matt on a P3. And I hate that Josh and Brandon got taken out, but going into this race, we knew it was a bit of a wild card. So hate it for those guys, but happy that I was able to bring home the W for the team.
All right, Brian. We'll see you next time.
All right, thanks, guys.
Alrighty, that was Brian Johnson, driver of the 4 Machine, gridded this race car in 17th and worked his way all the way up to the lead. Do want to go back to Jason, who started in 30th and worked his way up to second. I mean, what a phenomenal showing there for that driver. First, I do believe, podium in the series. Glad we were able to talk to him for the first time. Of course, congratulations to Matt DeCiani. We do want to kind of lament Patrick Gitter's race, who led the majority of this event. I know that's got to be definitely discouraging for him, but what a race, though, Big Al. I mean, I tell you what, who would have thunk we saw green flag pit stops here at Bristol?
Hey, we did, man, and we didn't, but we didn't think we would. But I'm going to tell you, like you always say, it's only one place that you're going to see that stuff, man. And these guys tonight that came out, it was Bristol, baby. They put on the show, some beating, some banging, maybe some feelings hurt. I can't wait to unpack it all and see what we can, let's do it all over again somewhere else.
Yeah, I mean, and there is only probably one league that you're going to see green flag pit stops at Bristol Motor Speedway, and it's probably the ISCA. I think that's the only place you're going to really see it, because, I mean, this place does race, or I should say this series races so clean. I mean, you're not going to see, I don't think, another series that has this level of respect with one another at a track like Bristol, no less. But can't wait to see what next week looks like at Kansas. I think that one's going to be a ball as well. We're getting closer and closer to the end of this season to seeing a championship to see a champion crowned. And I tell you, it's getting more and more exciting as this season goes on. But make sure you tune in next week, 9:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's when the broadcast begins. The race itself goes green a little bit after 9:30. We're going to be at Kansas Speedway. I'm adding the motor part. That's actually not in there. Kansas Speedway. That is a awesome mile and a half. That the top groove has always been traditionally the preferred line around that place. We'll see what's going to happen. I know the bottom groove lately has been a place where you can kind of save tires. So could we see some guys running down on the bottom? I think it's definitely possible. But you're going to want to tune in as we get started with the round of 12. My name is Brian Britt. We'll see you next time. This has been the ISCA.
Hi, my name is Brian Passalacqua, driver for Paradigm Motorsports and the number 6 OB Builders in Ram Welding and Fabrication, Chevy Camaro. I want to say thank you to our men and women in the armed forces, those that have served or currently serving, that protect us from all threats, those foreign and domestic. I've been part of ISCA now for about 2 years. I was the 2023 regular season champion and Final Four driver. I choose to participate in ISCA because of the long green flag runs, respectful racing, and high level of competition. If those are things